Hello, everyone. On today's episode of the Great Pogcast, we have the one and only Shadows Beloved. We sat down and had a absolutely wonderful conversation. It ran, I think, over 3.5 hours. So buckle up. You guys are in for a big one. We talked a lot about how Sword of Berserk and Shadows met. We talked about the internet and a whole lot more. Enjoy.
Hello?
There she is.
Oh my gosh, our date on our call is interesting.
What do you mean?
It's December 31st, 1969.
Where do you see that?
I'm on my phone and I'm gonna screenshot this and I'll send it to
Yeah, you have to send that to me.
I was like, wait a second, what does this mean?
Oh, the year on that, so perfect.
December 31st,
oh my goodness.
1969. Let's go. Neither of us were born.
Oh, that's one way to start things off, man. I love it. What's new with you? How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah?
I have recently got a new job, and so that's a thing.
Awesome. Do you want to talk about it? What do you got going on?
Oh, yeah, sure. So I work for a company called CNC Marketing Research.
Okay.
So you know those annoying people in the mall who want to do who want you to do surveys?
Oh, yeah.
We do that, but sort of it's changed since the fact that, COVID has slowed down mall work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we primarily have clients who we go through the process of like taste tests or even like stuff with TVs and things like the most recent thing that we've done that I can actually talk about, because there's some things that the contracts aren't finalized and I'm not
sure.
Was like Mountain Dew.
Okay.
And Monster. Monster recently had flavors that needed to be tested, and we basically got a large shipment.
Nice. And so do you get to taste test some of those?
No, but however, after the taste test, I was allowed to take all of them home. So I have silver cans in my house that say, try this one first, with numbers on them, and we don't know what they are.
Oh my goodness. But it's Monster?
It's hypothetically Monster.
Nice.
It could be Rockstar, but we don't know.
Hey.
I can also take a picture of that, and I'll send that to you, because
yes, please.
These cans, so I was pretty certain that we had figured out the cans, but we did not. Not at all.
Yeah.
We're 3 different numbers.
Mm-hmm.
There's 489. There's a 5-1 and a 6-1. The 4s, there are 2 different flavors to them.
Mm-hmm.
And both of us were like, wait, what? I drink cherry, and then there was one that was blueberry.
Nice.
We were both like, oh. So
that's
that
pretty
was
cool.
Fun to figure out.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It's a silver can, and it literally says, try first.
Yeah, and
that's
there's
good.
others
I like the
that
order.
say try second.
Right.
So, and it's just it's an interesting company to work for. I'm definitely learning a lot of things. My only inherent issue is that January is our slowest month of the year. And I have worked like 3 days. Period.
Wait, my. In all of January? Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. But I've only worked for the company for 2 weeks. So I'm not overly stressed about it now, but the fact that I don't have a written schedule is kind of driving me up the wall.
Yeah. I mean,
that was part of the reason why I was like, let me get back to you on for Saturday, because I don't know if I have to work.
Right.
And
that's totally fine. Totally understand.
Yeah, so more than likely I'm going to lose all of my weekends when February comes around, which that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with that. I'd rather, work and get paid than.
That's true. Yeah,
not.
yeah. When you consider the alternative, yeah, definitely okay with that.
But yeah.
I was just gonna say the after college, one of the first jobs I had post college was distributing beverages. So going to grocery store and stocking shelves with beer, wine, all that stuff. Hard A wasn't it wasn't public yet. You had to go to a liquor store run by the state to get it. So we didn't do Hard A, but we did like beer and wine and all that stuff. And the big stocking days are near the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Man, I hated working the weekends. I think my days off were like, I think it was Monday, Tuesday, or Sunday, Monday, or something like that. And I was like, I'm gonna lose my mind. If I don't get my weekends back, I'm gonna lose my mind. And being right out of college, I only had that job for like 2.5 months before I moved out. But I was living at home at the time, so financially, like, I wasn't hurting or anything. But man, I hated it. I hated it so much. It was just like one of those things where, you get, you're on the group texts with your friends and stuff, and all they're all talking about what they're doing on the weekend and going to concerts and doing this and that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't get to do any of that with you guys.
Yeah, so I actually worked for 7-Eleven for over a year.
Oh, no way.
And let me tell you what, in Virginia, alcohol stops being sold at midnight, or more accurately, 11:55.
Oh, wait, midnight? Really?
Yes.
Whoa.
So we would get people who were partying from Maryland coming in at 12:30, trying to rip open my beer case, and the beer case is locked. And I'm like, can you guys not? Because they sell beer until 2 a.m.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So the amount of times that I've watched someone and I'm like, you want to know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'll just wait and see if they're just going to grab a drink.
Yeah.
And they're staggering drunk. Like, I wouldn't have sold beer to them anyway. And they try to rip open the beer case. I'm like, yeah, can you not, please?
That's weird. In Virginia, bars and stuff close at midnight?
No. So, currently bars close at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m.
COVID.
COVID.
Yep. But in a regular world.
In a regular world, last call is 1:30, and you have to be out of the bar at 2.
Okay. So that would be similar to, the same as Washington.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you just can't buy booze.
But you still can't go to it. Oh, huh.
You can't buy liquor unless you are at an ABC store, and ABC stores close at 9.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Washington was like that for the longest time. I think it was up until 2011, 2012. Up until then, you had to go to a liquor store, right? Run by the state, no competition, a lot of taxes, all that stuff. We still have the taxes now. When they made it privatized, when they let like random regular companies start selling it, they kept the taxes in place. So you're still paying an arm and a leg for liquor in Washington, but the difference is, you can go to Costco, you can go to Safeway. I think some gas stations sell Hard A, but they might only do like the airplane shoot. I might be wrong about that, but I think they might only do like airplane shooters. But I'm pretty sure you can buy up until like 1:30 a.m.
Yeah. A lot of people are
Yeah.
like, Virginia is really archaic. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait till I tell you that casinos are illegal
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
until this last 6 months.
Now, did you grow up in Virginia?
Yep. Born and bred. I grew up
Nice.
right outside of DC.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
And then we moved further south. And we live literally in the heart of the Civil War.
Nice.
You
So
can't-
is that interesting living so close to such a historic thing?
So my late brother-in-law, he passed away in 2018.
I'm sorry.
Was an old country boy. He was from West Virginia. It's fine.
Okay.
He was sick for a really long time, and it was his time.
Yeah, I know.
But he was from West Virginia, and he sounded every bit like, the stereotypical redneck. Oh God. But he had such a big heart. He was a hardworking man. He loved my sister, and he loved his children.
Oh.
But one of the things that he used to do was he would go into our woods, and we have like a quarter acre of wooded area behind my parents' house with a metal detector.
Okay.
And he would go and walk back there and start digging.
Oh, wow.
And he would find bullets that were very old, silver buttons from uniforms from the Civil War. Right where my parents' house is, about less than a quarter mile away, so in the back of the woods. There was what was it? It was a hospital during the Civil War for the Union. So you would have soldiers who were there who died, amongst other things, and also had a bunch of amputations. Like, you can't spit in my area because it's literally Fredericksburg.
Right. Okay.
Like, Fredericksburg, Virginia, where like a freaking shit ton of battles took place. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm literally living, and I'm not even living at my parents' anymore. I'm living actually a little bit further west.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm literally living less than 10 minutes away from another battlefield.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, well, now that I moved to Nashville, I'm kind of in a similar situation. Franklin, in the Battle of Franklin, I mean that took place, I don't know, 15 minutes away. Like I've traveled to Franklin. It's a small little town, and it's not that far away, but similar situation. That's weird because growing up in Seattle, we're so far separated from all that. Like up next to the Canadian border. Like I've never lived in an area like that, and you're talking about him finding like buttons and like, oh man, that trips me out because it's like it probably makes you like start to think about that. Like, did that button come from a soldier in battle? What was going on? Why did he lose his button? You start to kind of formulate these scenarios and possibilities and just like daydreaming about what could possibly have happened there. That's so funny.
Yeah, like there's a sign right off that main road that you can pull off to and read, and it talked about the hospital and how it spanned this amount of acreage, and that
oh wow, yeah,
President Lincoln visited the soldiers there and gave them an address, and it's stuff like that is just like super fascinating. And for me and my partner's mom, she loves history. Oh my gosh, she has books upon books upon books of photographs that she has taken of random battlefields, and it's just like, this is the information here. And she's not even a native Virginian, she's from Texas.
Okay, yeah.
But she loved the Civil War era, and she has so much knowledge that it's so much fun to listen and talk to her.
Yeah, and it was such a fascinating time in our history that, I mean, you think about it, that's crazy. Our nation literally came to arms, like states were fighting each other. Like, I mean, I say, like, try to wrap your head around it, but thinking about it, some people are thinking that could still be a possibility in today's America, even. Like, oof,
yeah,
oof.
and it's more or less the same. Like, there was So a lot of people like to say that slavery was a big contributing
Sure.
factor, and it was.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there was other things that were also contributing factors, though slavery
Sure.
being the largest.
Sure.
For instance, Virginia was split in half.
Mm-hmm.
Richmond was the capital of the Confederacy, and DC is right up there. It's
That's
less
crazy.
than 2 hours away.
I actually didn't know that.
Now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So you had people who were in the North who were sympathetic to the Confederacy, and you had people in the South in Virginia who were sympathetic to the Union. And you just had a bunch of you had brothers who disagreed, and it was a huge mess. I cannot imagine it happening again, but I know that it can, and it probably will.
That would be your take on it, is that you think it might come down to that? Man.
I think that there's a lot of things that are wrong with our politics, and I won't get too deeply into that.
Yeah.
Because
it's fine.
I'm a little more left leaning than some.
Sure.
Like, Berserk, be quiet. I'm a little more left leaning than some.
Sure.
And in fact, out of the 10 of my siblings, my younger sister and I are the only ones who are even slightly left leaning.
Okay. Out of 10? 10 siblings?
Yeah, I have 4 older brothers, 4 older sisters, and 1 younger sister.
So you were 9 of 10.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, what was that like? I had 1 younger sister. Have. She's alive and well. I have 1 younger sister, but what was it like being like one of the very youngest out of 10? And did you guys have a mansion? Like, how does this work?
So that's actually the funny thing. That's one of the reasons why we moved. My dad has always been, he served in the military for 23 years. He served his whole time. He was a career military man.
Good for him. That's
really
not easy.
Screwed the pooch.
Okay.
He and my mother had my 2 oldest brothers. So my parents got married directly with my dad getting out of college, and my mom was pre-med.
Okay.
They met in Jersey.
Okay.
And his first duty station was in Korea. So my mom had to get a spouse license to go travel with him, because it was a unaccompanied tour, which means that he was basically going to live in the barracks and not have his wife. And if he had any children, his children wasn't allowed to come either.
But
so
okay, go on.
So my mom lived in a house that had young ladies who were married to the military men. We actually still have the wok from when my mom lived in Korea.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yep.
She makes fried rice in it all the time.
Oh, I love fried rice, by the way.
Yeah, I do too. So my dad's second duty station was Washington State.
Okay.
My 2 oldest brothers, Jay and Armand, were born in Washington.
Yeah.
My brother Armand, to the surprise of no one, is a big Seattle Seahawks fan.
Yeah. Well, so am I, by the way.
Yeah,
I like
but
the way
you
he
were
thinks.
born and raised there.
Yeah, I know.
They legit were born. My brother Armand was born, and 11 months later they moved. And my mom was pregnant with my sister Lisa.
Okay.
And she had her in Indiana.
Yep.
Then they moved to New York. And that is where things get really complicated, because my dad had been cheating on my mom repeatedly across the entire time that they had been married.
Oh, no.
In Korea, he had a girlfriend. In Washington, he had 2 girlfriends. In Indiana, he briefly had a fling.
Okay.
And then they moved to New York. And they had, my mom was like, okay, no, I'm tired of this. She ended up pregnant with my brother, Paul, and she filed for divorce because she found out he was sleeping with his sergeant's secretary.
Okay, yeah.
And she filed for divorce. And she filed separation papers, went through JAG, all of that. My dad got sat down by his commander, his CO, and was told, hey, you need to fix this.
Yeah.
Because if you don't fix this, we have to kick you out of the military, because adultery is a reason to be fired from the military. dishonorably discharged, lose everything.
Is that, do they still do that?
Yes, they can.
Oh, man.
But they don't typically.
Right. Okay. But at least they can kind of hold that over people.
Well, the military is supposed to be a shining example of men.
Okay. Yeah.
And women.
Sure.
If you're doing stuff that, Captain America wouldn't do, you're probably doing poorly in the military as well.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
So they were able to reconcile, and my dad broke up with his girlfriend.
Okay.
And she had Paul, and then she had my brother Tony.
Mm-hmm.
They moved to Germany.
Oh, wow.
And in
all
Germany,
the kids are coming along for this?
Yep.
Wow.
My 5 oldest brothers and sisters have a lot of stories about Germany that I'm just like, oh wow.
Yeah, that's wild.
So my mother has been an asthmatic her entire life. From childhood to adulthood to now.
Yeah.
She's in her 60s now, and she's still an asthmatic. Well, the Germans would use coal heating.
Oh,
yeah. And that triggered her breathing really bad. And they lived there from 1980 to 1982. And she happened to be pregnant with my sister Dorothy and had to be emergency evacuated out of Germany to go home because she couldn't breathe, and they were afraid she was going to lose the baby.
Wow.
And then they moved to Virginia, to a place called Dale City.
There you go. And?
Yeah. So my sister Dorothy was born in 1983 on July 5th.
Yep.
And on July 5th, my mother had been in labor for 3 days. She went to go see Star Wars, the last Star Wars, in a drive-in.
Return of the Jedi, by the way. Yeah. Yep. That last Star Wars.
And she had my sister Dorothy, and then 3 years later, she had my sister Maria. And then there's a 7-year gap between my sister Maria and my sister Kat. Or not
7 years?
5-year gap.
Oh, 5. Okay.
5 years.
Okay.
My sister Kat was born in 1991. I was born in 1992. And my younger sister was born in 1995. And then my mom hit menopause.
Whoa. So they were thinking like maybe they were all done and then had one more, or?
Yep.
Oh.
I don't think a single one of us was a planned pregnancy. We just kind of happened.
Just kind of happened. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, yeah. That's fair enough. Man. And so what's the age? What's the biggest age gap? 1995 to
1973.
Whoa. 18 years.
18
years.
Actually, it's 20 years, because my eldest brother has a son whose name is James.
Okay.
That's a family name. He is James William the 5th.
Okay.
My brother is the 4th.
Okay.
My dad is the 5th or 3rd.
All right. Yep.
Rather.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a nightmare.
Hey, James, come over here. Not all of you. Only the 3rd.
Yes, my dad is Jay, my brother is Jay, and my nephew is James.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You got to split it up a little bit.
Yeah. My grandfather, who was the 2nd, by the way, was Jim. He did not go by James or Jay.
Yep. I was going to say, you could always go down the Jim road, right.
Yeah.
And but nobody actually goes by their middle name?
Nope. We have too many Williams in our family.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's the middle name. Right. I'm following that.
Yep. So anyway, in 1992, my brother Jay and his wife Tina graduated high school, and they were pregnant and had a baby in July.
Yeah.
And my nephew James was born July 23rd, 1992, and I was born December 4th, 1992.
Oh my.
Yeah.
They got a 2 for that year. Wow.
Yes, they did. And they were married in November, and they've been married ever since.
So what's it like having siblings that are like, what, 12, 14 years older than you? Is that that's got to be a different dynamic than most brother and sister relationships, right?
Believe it or not, no. Not at all. In fact, like that's actually one of the weirdest things about us is that my family is very close.
Really? Okay, that's good. That's good.
I have a running relationship with every single one of my siblings, even my sister Dorothy, whose husband is also in the military, and they're currently living in Hawaii. I have all of us live within a 30-minute area, with the exception of my sister Kat, who lives further out. She lives about an hour away from where I live.
All the brothers and sisters are about 30 minutes apart, like in a 30-minute radius of each other. Wow.
Yep.
That's
I actually can literally go drive to my brother Paul's house in 5 minutes.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, up until I made the move to Nashville, I was about 10 minutes away from my sister. Maybe 15 from the parents. And I'd done that my entire life. And so I get that. But growing up, I had a buddy who was one of five. He was the youngest, so he was actually like the fifth born. But he said between him and his brother, 12-year difference. He was like, I don't even really see him as a brother. Like, every once in a while I'll see him and say hey, or I'll run into him somewhere and we'll talk. But like, other than that, growing up, he was basically working and out of the house by the time he really has memory, right? Yeah. Because really, you don't have too much of a memory, but before age 4 or 5. So by that time, his older brother, 12 years, is already out of the house. High school, gone all the time, then college, and then a professional career. So he's like, I really never saw him as a brother, like maybe more like an uncle. But they were. I mean, obviously every relationship's different, but that's really cool that your whole family stayed that close, and then to actually be able to keep all 10 siblings together for so long is that's impressive. Is there something about Virginia that makes you want to stay there that really stands out? What are some of the positives about living in Virginia?
The fact that I love history.
I really
love history.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I don't really talk about unless someone else is also interested in it, which is why I can sit with Berserk's mom.
Sure.
For hours.
History buff?
Just shoot. Pardon?
She's a history buff too? Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah. But that's one of the main draws of staying.
Yeah.
I personally am not a particular fan of Virginia.
Right, okay. Like politically and whatnot. Okay, yeah.
Between the political and between the rising. So I live, like I said, about an hour away from DC.
Right.
Where we are now.
Yep.
Do you understand how expensive housing is?
I mean, I just came from Seattle, so I know how bad it can be. But I don't know. I have no idea about housing in and around the DC area now, huh?
Oh God, it's
Is it
like
bad?
you have to be a millionaire to actually own a house up there. And renting is absolutely bonkers. It's not as bad as say New York City.
Right.
But it's dang close.
Really?
Yeah.
The DC metro area? Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's actually one of the reasons why we moved when we moved in 2001.
Are people moving into DC? Is it
oh yeah.
Poppin' spot? Okay. Huh.
Yeah, they're gentrifying it right now.
Right.
There's some areas that are a lot more dangerous than others
through
the eyes of the common folk, but I've never had an issue in DC.
Okay. Yeah.
And
no. I've heard DC's pretty rough, but I've never visited there.
It depends where you go and depends if you're a tourist.
Right.
If you're a tourist and you're acting like a tourist, there's a big you're you're in trouble anyway.
Actually, I lied. I visited DC and New York in junior high school, as obviously as a tourist.
Yeah, but that's a little bit different.
Oh yeah. Like, I had no sense of the danger, the area like around DC. I know that a lot of people tried selling watches, and I bought one for $8, and
heck yeah,
it was a lot of fun. I was like, I know this isn't a freaking Rolex. Like, come on.
Yeah, but
it's like I got like there are people everywhere like, oh, look at this. Look at this suitcase, and then bam, they pop it open. It's like, oh, look at what I have here. This is a Rolex. You know, this is a $500 watch. I'll sell it to you for $20. I was like, dude, I'm not paying more than like, I got like $10 in my wallet, and I don't want to spend all 10 of it on a fake watch. So I bought one just to bring home and just to have as like a keepsake from the trip. I knew I was 13 at the time. I knew it was fake, but I thought that was really funny. I didn't realize there was such a big market for knockoff fake watches that bust in 10 minutes.
Yeah, watches, purses, hats.
Do they still do that?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm not even gonna try to like defend that. Like that is
Yeah, no, I like that.
There's a sucker born every minute, and some people actually believe that shit is real, and it's not.
You're right. Well, I think some people buy it because they're like, hey, this is a knockoff. Other people will think it's real. I'll tell people that it's real, but I know it's fake. And then I think, like you said, a chunk of people just gullible, fall for it. Or for some people, there's probably a language gap and they don't fully understand. So that all plays into it. But I think it's funny, not because they're being like dishonest and disingenuous, but I think it's funny because it just gives every area its own little flair, and I think that's a pretty cool little unique thing. They don't do any of that in the Seattle area. Living here in Nashville, no one does that here either. Like, I'm pretty sure that's kind of limited to that area, which makes it really funny.
Yeah, no, and I believe that. But like before everything kind of hit the fan, I used to go up to DC at least once a month with my friends to go to the Smithsonian. Oh, cool. Yeah, okay. And we'd go to a different Smithsonian every time because it's the Smithsonian, like the entirety of it, they have different buildings for certain things, like air and space are one, natural history is another. Oh my god, it would take 2 weeks for you to go through and actually comprehend and understand what you're looking at to go through the entirety of the Smithsonian. Yeah, I visited the Smithsonian. I mean, obviously I didn't see everything or whatnot, but I mean that place is awesome. And by the way, if you're into history, I mean that's got to be like the coolest thing for Shadows. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And it was so much fun to go in there and just wander around, and like, because I used to go up to DC a lot as a kid because my dad used to work there. And since we lived like 30 minutes away, it was like a hop, skip, and a jump, and we'd wander. And like when he would do his take your daughter to work day, my two sisters, the two sisters I'm in between, and myself would go up to DC and just sit at his work and do stuff. It was a lot of fun. Okay. Yeah. So we got a little bit off track because we went off because I went off on that weird tangent about how many siblings I had, but we lived in a 5-bedroom house when I was a kid. Wow. Yeah. Wow. So you had the 3 of us youngest kids sleeping in one room. My 3 sisters would share a room, and then my sister Lisa moved out. And my brothers would share the rooms downstairs, and my parents had their own room. Say that one more time. I'm sorry. Which part? How many bedrooms were there? 5. 5. Okay, so that's a pretty good size house. Yeah. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but when you have 14 people living in a house, that's not enough bedrooms. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, no, that's not enough.
And you like there's something that a lot of people get really confused about, because when I talk about Jay and Tina, I don't typically refer to my sister-in-law,
Okay.
Tina, as a sister-in-law. And people are like, "Oh, but she's not like, that's really weird. Is there like incest going on?" And I'm like, "No."
You're right.
I was like, "No." I was like, and it's so complicated to explain, but
Mhm.
my sister-in-law, Tina, and my brother, Jay, have been together since they were 15.
Okay.
Okay. I was born after their son was born. They were married a month before I was born.
So if your brother has a kid, that makes you the auntie, but in this situation, the aunt is actually is actually lower than the niece or nephew.
Yep.
Well, that's
my nephew
Wow.
James is the only nephew that I have that is biologically my nephew who does not call me Aunt Teresa.
No.
Which Teresa is my first name.
No, they have to. They have to.
No. James was more like a brother than his dad was to me.
Okay,
when
fair
I was
enough.
A kid.
Fair enough.
Like, because he was always at our house.
Still.
And we would always go to his house and we would play together like friends.
Look, if I was the younger aunt, I'd be holding that over everybody.
Oh, trust me. It got held over a lot of, like, I have a 22-year-old nephew named Anthony.
Okay.
Anthony keeps trying to call me by my first name, and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
no,
exactly. No. Put the foot down, Shadows.
I was like, do you know when you were born? And he went, 1998. And I'm like, yeah. Do you know how old I was when you were born? And he was like, 6. I was like, I was 5, but beside the point.
Yep, exactly.
Like, do you know how many diapers of yours I've changed? Nah, you don't get to call me by my first name.
That's right.
Mm-mm.
Yep.
I've changed your butt.
That's right.
And he's like, I'm an adult. And I said, tell me if you can go up to New Jersey, which is where my mom's family lives. I said, and you look Uncle Armand in the eye and you call him Armand. Do you know how fast you're going to get whacked?
Yeah.
He goes, oh, I would never call Uncle Armand anything but Uncle Armand. And I said,
whoa.
I'm your aunt.
Wait, yeah. That's not fair.
He's your great uncle. I'm your aunt. I live like 20 minutes away from you.
Yep.
Shut up. Anyway, but my sister-in-law has been in my family longer than I've been alive.
Okay, yeah.
So,
yep.
She's been living with my parents since she was 16 because her home life was apparently really bad.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate, but it does happen from time to time.
Yeah. So she lived with my parents since she was 16 years old. I have never seen her as my sister-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
She's always been my sister.
Yeah. I mean, and when you live and grow up in that close a proximity to someone, that happens. That's natural.
But a lot of people get really confused when I'm like, oh, my sister Tina and my brother Jay are married. And they're like,
And then when they're like,
they start West Virginia bullshit.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Right. Exactly. They take the stereotypes and combine things.
And I'm like, okay, let me show you a picture of me and my sister-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
My sister-in-law happens to be Filipino.
Yeah, right.
And I'm 50 shades of white.
Right. Yeah.
Heylow.
Yeah.
I do not have an ethnic bone in my body.
I've seen the pictures. I've seen the pictures of Shadows.
I am white. I'm like, there is no way in hell that you think that I'm related to her as a whole.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, it was a mess. So
right.
When we moved from the north to further south, my parents built a 9-bedroom house. 9 bedrooms.
That's huge. That's huge. A 9. I mean, obviously you kind of need it, but man, that's got to be huge. That's awesome. Good for the family. Uh-oh. Did we lose Shadows?
2001.
Oh, you cut out for a second there.
Here.
There you go. You're good now.
Oh. 2001 was a really tumultuous time.
Okay. What happened? What was it? What was that? The building of the house?
So yeah, it was. We were building the house. We moved in April. My dad still had to commute to DC. At the time, he worked for ATF, which is alcohol. What the heck is it?
I have no idea.
Alcohol, something, and firearms. Tobacco and firearms.
Tobacco. Yep. I was gonna say. Yep. When you said firearms, I was like, oh, I've heard of that. Alcohol, I don't know what they do, but okay.
They regulate.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they regulate the
3 important things
tobacco,
to regulate. Yep.
Yeah. And since, Marlboro comes from Virginia, that's one of the biggest crops that we grow down here.
You grow Marlboro?
Still tobacco to this day. Yeah. Marlboro, like the cigarette brand.
Yeah.
Anyway.
By the way, is there a bigger travesty than the loss of Joe Camel?
Oh my God, no. Because I got, as a kid.
Yeah.
Do you
remember the ads?
Yeah. I was like, oh, he's really cool.
Yeah, I did too.
Smoking definitely
He had the leather jacket and he'd have the cigarette. I remember there was an ad where it was his back. So the bulk of the ad is the leather jacket. And this goes to show you how powerful their marketing was and how much it affected kids, young adults, and it really kind of changed the vision and the way people perceived tobacco, right? Because to this day, and they haven't had billboards for, I don't know, at least 25 years. But I remember they had the ad I distinctly remember it's the leather jacket, it's the camel with the leather jacket on. His back is to the billboard, so you see the back of the leather jacket, and he's just standing there, and his head is slightly halfway turned to the side, and you can see the camel face and all that, right, coming out of the leather jacket, that imagery, it stuck with people. It was powerful. It's no wonder why they regulated it. They had to pull those ads, but man, they were far and away on the cutting edge and out in front, and really found something that honed in with their audience, their demographic, and just changing the way people saw tobacco, because around that time, cigarettes and tobacco had been around long enough where people knew of the health risks. They knew about cancer. They knew about emphysema. They knew about those things. When they first came out with tobacco products, actors, actresses, they were smoking, at first because they didn't realize how dangerous it was. And then it kind of stuck with people throughout the years. And then by the late 80s, 90s, by the mid 90s, they were like, we're gonna push these products because we're losing sales and we need to. And man, did they find the perfect thing for their targeted audience. And I mean, I'm not saying, hey, they people should be smoking, because obviously it's terrible. I lost my grandmother to throat cancer, but man, they were smart and on top of their game with that one. That shows you, by the way, how important it is to market to your demographic, right?
Right.
In whether you're streaming on Twitch or doing whatever, keeping your customer and your fan base in mind is such a crucial part of all that. And
Do you remember Marlboro Man?
Oh yeah. He ended up dying.
The cowboy?
Yeah. Of course.
He died in 1999.
Right, wasn't it emphysema?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I remember that. Yep.
Yep. He was a big draw for like my brothers because most of my siblings are smokers. I don't know.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah. Which is really ironically funny. I'll say ironically funny because all but 2 of us have asthma. I am one of the kids who do not have asthma.
Yeah. By the way, for the record,
yeah,
to anybody out there listening, I highly recommend not picking up cigarettes ever. I'm not promoting it. Not promoting it.
No.
In the least. Trust me. I've never been a smoker. And never will. And never stuck with cigarettes. Have I had a couple over the years? Sure. But I would not recommend it. And picking it up as a habit, so freaking dangerous. But going back to what you were saying, I just wanted to clarify that. You said that you're one of 2 that has not had asthma?
Asthma, yep. Mm-hmm. And my other one is my brother Tony. And out of the 10, 8 of us smoke.
Okay. Yeah, man.
Yeah. And Tony happens to be one of them. So it's kind of like...
Yeah, it's a huge risk. It's just... it's... I mean, it comes at you from so many different angles too, right? Mm-hmm. Like we were saying, the cancer, emphysema, so much stuff. But
and COPD. Amongst other things.
You're really, really gambling. You're gambling a lot.
Yep. Yes, you are. And I highly recommend never picking up cigarettes. It's a hard addiction, and it is an addiction, despite what anybody will tell you.
Oh yeah, God, yeah. Oh, it's
and people get withdrawals from it trying to quit, and any person who quits and then relapses, I hold nothing against because I understand. My family has a really bad mentality for addiction.
Sure.
I've had quite a few drug users in my family, including my extended family, but out of my siblings, a lot of my siblings have done very bad drugs. I think. Yeah. I don't know if it was you who I mentioned it to, but my younger sister and my sister, who's directly above me in age, dropped acid when they were teenagers.
Oh, yeah. You said that. Yep.
The boyfriend freaked out and ran off into the woods, stripped butt naked, climbed a tree. And they were like, "Oh, do you want some?" And I went, "No."
You're watching that scene unfold and you're like...
Yeah, and I'm like trying to get him out of the tree. And I'm like, "Please, no, I don't need any of this. I need to get him down."
There's a naked man running up a tree right now, and you're gonna offer me what he had?
Yeah, like, for real? Are you serious? No, I don't want any. So the heaviest drug I've ever done is weed.
I mean, I'm right there with you. We talked about this on stream, but I freaked out when I made my own pot brownies, and that's when you told that story.
Yeah, I honestly, it reminded me of Feckless so much because Feckless apparently bought edibles and he took 2, like he ate 1.
Yep.
And then, the next day he had another one and then he did a 3rd one.
Wow.
And the 2 that he was like super chill. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
He was super chill with the 2 that he first ate. The 3rd one, he apparently freaked out for like 48 hours.
What? That seems weird though. Like,
he called Jared and his brother.
That seems
because he was freaking out.
He was freaking out on it. Yeah.
He told Jared that he thought he was going to die, and I was like, "What?" Because Jared has told this story, and so has Feckless, and I'm like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah. Well, and by the way, Shadows is referencing a couple of other streamers here on Twitch. We'll put their links in the description below, but that is super funny. But that seems weird. Like, okay, the number of hours apart is staggering, right? Because it wasn't like back to back to back.
No,
you're saying like he had
back.
one edible, went to bed, next day had another edible, and then some more time passed, and then had a third. That's not.
And the third made him freak out.
I mean, unless. Well, here's the thing. I mean, okay, fine. I'll say it. I've gone into I've gone into the weed store, a few times myself, and if my mom ever hears this, she's going to be so disappointed. So that's why I'm whispering right now. But I might have gone into weed stores, pretty regularly. And the one thing I noticed is, especially when dispensaries started doing edibles, like the packaged stuff, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you would get a cookie. Or when they did gummies, they sometimes you would get something really potent, and sometimes there would be nothing in there. So I think what happened was, I don't think the first two had anything. Maybe a little bit of the second one, but I think what happened is he mostly got he got a little extra. Right, even if it said 15 milligrams, 20 milligrams, realistically, because I trust me, I've had enough edibles to know. Sometimes you get nothing, and sometimes it's an overload. Now, a good chunk of the time, it's fine, right? Like you expect 10 milligrams, you have a couple, you feel it a little bit, right? That's usually your experience, but especially early on, it was more of the standard deviation. The standard deviation in the amount of weed was much higher. So I'm guessing he probably got more than he bargained for with that last one, and that's what triggered it.
Yup.
Yeah.
But getting back on track, in 2001 we moved in April.
Mm-hmm.
I know we went off on a really long tangent.
You say get back. There is no track. That's the beauty of this. There is no track. Back in 2001.
Yep, back in 2001, April, we moved to our brand new house. It was so nice. It had rugs everywhere, which, by the way, rugs are awful. If anybody is trying to buy a house, do not get a house with rugs, please. You don't know what's underneath it until you rip it up, and oh my god.
You mean carpet? You mean carpet? Carpet.
Rugs, not rugs. Carpets, yeah. Carpets are...
Yeah, I was going to say, you usually don't buy a house with rugs just laying down everywhere. Yeah, but okay. Yeah.
Yeah, be careful of carpets unless you're the one who built the house, because I will tell you that the amount of times that I have heard horror stories of ripping them up have been so high.
Yep. You don't know what's going on underneath that. Sure.
Yeah.
Didn't know that, but it makes sense.
Yeah. Especially if the house was built in the 70s or any time before that, because they used a lot of asbestos. So be careful.
Okay. Yeah. That's that's.
Always wear masks when you're doing house.
Yeah.
But we moved, and almost all of my siblings, my brother Tony had just dropped out of college. He went on a full scholarship as a cheerleader down to Old Dominion, which is in Norfolk.
Yep.
And he basically drank his scholarship away.
I mean, it's not funny, but
yeah, it's
a little bit.
Because my mom is like one of the chillest moms you'll ever meet, and she's been chill forever. Like, as a teenager, if I wanted to go out and go to a party, she's like, okay, cool. If there's any drinking going on and you drink anything, you call me. I will come and pick you up. She goes, do not get in the car with anyone else. Call me. And I was like, okay. And she goes, no questions asked. I'm not going to judge you for anything that you may smell like weed or cigarettes.
My mom said the exact same thing to me, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, I will come and pick you up. I want you to just be able to come home safe.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I have, even to this day, if I like drink at a bar too heavy, I can call my mom and she will come and pick me up.
Yeah. Oh wow. Have you? Okay. So my mom is 20 years older than me. So my mom was 19 when she got married, had me 13 months later.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the firstborn of two.
Yeah.
So my mom growing up was obviously like the youngest. She was the youngest mom, like throughout like the PTA conferences and stuff in elementary school, junior high, high school. And so having a young mom like that has its own challenges, because you can't with like a mom that's only 20 years older than you. You can't get away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, you
literally
cannot.
when I'm 18, like getting ready to graduate high school, going into college, my mom is 38.
Yep.
4 years older than me. Like dumb tricks and pranks and like banking on my mom being oblivious and telling dumb jokes in front of my mom, like to my friends and stuff. Not a thing, because she's gonna catch right on to all of it. But my mom said she said the same thing to me. She told me, hey, by the way, don't be an idiot and drink, because you're gonna kill yourself or hurt yourself because you're underage and it's really bad for you. Mm-hmm. But she's like, but if it happens, or even if you're in college and you drink too much, before you get in the car, call me. Which is really cool. Which is, by the way, I think it's really awesome. So the question I had for you is, I never actually took my mom up on that offer. Mm-hmm. But have you actually done that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I trust my mom isn't really a drinker herself. Yeah. Like at all. Sure. And I know that at any time of night or day that I can just call her and she will come and pick me up regardless of where I am. Because like that's still like I rarely drink at bars, like especially to excess, because just how expensive it is. Yep. But like if I do drink too heavy and Berserk can't come and pick me up, my mom, I would call her in a heartbeat.
By the way, shout out to all the good mothers out there that do that for their kids. I know my mom would do that for me in a heartbeat. I mean, obviously she told me about it, but I know that if I got really, really drunk, she would do it. She would actually follow through with that. So shout out to all the good moms out there. And shout out to all the single moms out there too. Just throwing that out there.
That actually was a thing that I was going to bring up. Is that you were like, oh, my mom was like 20 when she had me.
Yeah, well, she was.
I have two sisters who had children. My sister Kat had a child when she was 17, almost 18. Yep. And my sister Regina had her first child at 19.
Yeah, man, that's Yeah, that's
her eldest daughter is 6 and she's 25. Mm-hmm. She is the youngest mother that takes her kid to school.
Yeah, I know. And growing up, random people would like go up to my mom and like kind of scoff at the fact that she was a 20-year-old with a newborn. A lot of people, I mean, say what's, not throwing judgment out there to anyone in marriage or not, but a lot of people would kind of scoff at her and assume that she wasn't married and make little comments on the side about that, like being married and stuff like that. My mom was like, look, I'm married, I'm just 20. and people, like she said, a lot of people came up to her and did things like just randomly rub and touch her belly and get way too close. And I know that happens to any pregnant woman, but she really went through the ringer being a young parent because people thought that she wasn't capable of doing it all and going through it all and so that had its own challenges. But the weird thing was right after my mom had me, she had Bell's palsy. And then she had it really bad. Like it's weird. Like, It's not weird, but like you see pictures of my younger sister when she was born, and there's a good lineage from the time she was born up through that first year. There's a lot of pictures of her. With me, there's not a whole lot, especially with my mom. There's none. And a lot of that is driven off the fact of my mom had Bell's palsy, and she had the really droopy face for a long time, and she was very self-conscious about that. And that drove a lot of that. But even weirder than that is the fact that my mother also had I'm gonna screw it up if I say it. It's because I always confuse it with the STD, and she didn't have the STD. She had okay.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. I'm actually Googling it right now because I don't want to say the wrong thing. It's
No, I got you.
What is it? What brand? Okay. So, okay. Yeah. I always say it wrong. Well, I don't always say it wrong, but I come close to saying it. She had after I was born, and I think probably towards the end of her pregnancy, she got encephalitis.
Oh.
Encephalitis. And I confuse it, and I sometimes say syphilis, but no, she didn't have syphilis.
Yeah, no, not syphilis.
No.
Okay.
No, she had encephalitis. And as a result,
you want to explain what that is for your listeners?
Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure they'll figure out what that is. But encephalitis.
No, not syphilis.
Yeah. So she got encephalitis, and it's a brain infection, and the end result of all of that, is the fact that coming out of that, she has seizures now, right? So
okay.
in grand mal and big seizures, epilepsy, right?
Yeah.
And she lives with that to this day. But man, growing up, she had she made it. she had a lot of challenging moments being a young mother like that. And I saw it a few times growing up. She had big seizures. One time, we were at the kitchen table, and she had a seizure, and we were eating a steak dinner, regular steak dinner, evening time at home, and all of a sudden she just like locked up. Right? She just kind of stopped talking, eyes glazed over. And then she fell back in the chair. Chair hits the hardwood floor. She's down on the floor. Back down, belly up. Seizing up, right? Shaking, doing all that stuff, foaming at the mouth. I mean, bad. It looks terrible. It's dangerous too. But she also had a steak knife in her hand. And my dad does tile work. He works with countertops, hardest working man you will ever meet in your entire life. To this day, he gets up at 3:00 in the morning, works till 5, 6, 7 sometimes. But he rushed over, strong dude, buff dude. It took every fiber of his being to rip that steak knife out of her hand. And there was another time that I found her. I was younger. I was like, I think 5 or 6 years old. Yeah. I heard some weird noises. I walked into the bathroom. I was like, what? I was like, Mom, what's going on? I kind of like peeked in, and she was she was on the ground in the bathroom she was full on having a seizure. Dad is obviously working early in the day, right? It's like 9:00 in the morning. And I being a kid like that, I freaked out, ran down the street, and there was a neighbor driving home. Older neighbor, right? Or like retired. And somehow I flagged him down, and he called 911, and everyone, she got through it. Everything's fine. But
I lost you.
What do you mean?
You could completely cut out.
Oh, did I? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, she ended up
fine.
she ended up she was having that seizure, and I freaked out. And I flagged down some neighbors. I ran down the street, and luckily there was someone driving a home, and our next door neighbor it was actually, and retired, going to and from whatever business they had, and flagged him down. And luckily he was driving up and down that little quiet road on that little street, and but fate would have it that he was there. And, he called 911, and they found my sister hiding in the closet because she was scared out of her mind, being the little 3-year-old that she was.
Yeah, and that's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, that was the sort of thing I did as a kid, yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame you for like trying to find someone to help.
Yeah, I was a little kid. I freaked out.
Yeah. No, and that's a thing, is that most people are like, well, why didn't you call 911? Well, you were a kid. You were a child.
Oh, yeah, right. You're not equipped to handle stressful situations.
Not like that at all.
No.
So I don't know if you know this about me, but I am an epileptic.
Okay, so you're in a similar situation to my mom. Wow, that's crazy. Like less than 2% of the population have epilepsies or seizures. So wow, that's crazy. Or do you have the petite or grand mal?
I believe I have the petite, because
so you kind of get the glossy
lights that trigger. Yep.
Oh wow! Oh no! Well, I do a lot of flashing light stuff these days. You should have told me.
Oh no! So I see it starting in the background, and I will click away.
Oh, okay.
So I'll still hear you, but no, never worry about it. There was a video that someone recently put onto one of their streams because they were doing a meme review thing.
Sure. And, flashing light warning.
Yep. And someone didn't post a flashing light warning, but like the person was reading it, and I went, "Oh, that's really unfortunate. I need to go." And he was like, "Wait, are you an epileptic?" And I was like, "Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't stay. I can't watch this video." And he goes, "Oh my gosh." So ever since then, people, when there's flashing lights, they put the warning on there specifically because I am the only person who's ever mentioned it.
Yeah, that's okay.
But as the one person who mentioned it, they're like, "We don't want you to have a seizure."
Yeah, right. No, I need to okay. Yeah. That's what I need to come up with. I don't know what the best. I don't know if there's a way to automate it, but I need to do something.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll mention it. Maybe I'll mention it.
I only ever had 2 seizures in my entire life.
Oh wow!
So it's not like driving causes anything, nothing bad like that.
Sure.
I have my driver's license and everything.
Yeah, my mom does too, and my mom has a driver's license, but growing up, she had seizures, very common. Once every 8-9 months, she would have one. But what they do is, hey, you can get your license, but if you have a seizure, they suspend your license for 6 months. Not because of negligence or anything, but it's because, hey, you had a seizure. After you have a seizure like that, you're more prone to having another one, like a grand mal like that. So they strip your license. 6 months go by, then they give it back to you. And so growing up, that had in and of itself had its own slew of challenges. Being involved in sports and after school activities and friends, and having a mom that most of the time couldn't drive. It was really challenging, but that's totally common. But so you've only had 2 in your entire life. What happened? What triggered it? What happened?
So I went to a friend's house, and she got a new fog machine and the lights.
Yeah,
the super
right.
flashing light,
Uh-huh.
because she was super into horror. She's still to this day super
Yeah.
into horror movies and stuff.
Yeah. Right.
And I just remember walking into the room and the flashing, and then I apparently woke up on the ground and they were like calling 911, like
Wow.
freaking out. And I was like, whoa, what happened? And they're like, you just dropped. Like your eyes, what happened? And I was like, I don't know. I just apparently just keeled over and was just out cold, like twitching and all. It was a mess, and it happened again at
Yeah.
her house.
Both of them
She
happened
did
at
it
the same
again.
household?
Yes.
Oh,
Like 6
I
months
bet you were
apart.
really popular around there.
Oh God! So she learned that she wasn't allowed to do that when I came over, and I've never had that issue again. Like, but I've never gone to a rave. I've never done.
Man. Being a guy that's gone to a bunch of raves, yeah, you would not do well there.
Yeah, I know. I know I won't do well. And I was like, oh God. Because my sisters were super into it. And
Yep.
Richmond had so many. Oh my God.
Oh, really?
So many raves. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have a really large rave community in this area. It's kind of bonkers, but I've never been and never will go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not missing much because I won't remember any of it. Anyway.
Oh no, even for me, I've been to raves and it's been hard on me. Yeah. I'm not an epileptic. I don't have any issue with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been to raves and it gets to the point where it hurts my eyes.
Yeah. Well, of course it hurts
especially
your eyes.
like late at night when it's dark out, you've been watching music all day. Yep. It hurts your eyes because it's like super dark and then they blast you with the flashes or the light that like shines directly into you. Man, it makes your head bump.
Yeah, and it's
I know that feeling and it's not good. Yeah.
But it's something I'll never experience, which honestly I'm more or less fine with.
Just you can go on here, you could still I mean, I hate to say it, but you can kind of experience it if you like go on YouTube and you type in like, oh, Tomorrowland 2018, 2019, like you can get a sense of what they're like watching it through a computer screen like on YouTube. But because some of those they will stream like when it's going on live, you can jump on YouTube and watch the live stream of it. And those are actually kind of cool.
Okay. Well, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah. And so that might be a safe way of doing it. And kind of it gives you a sense of what the live music scene is like at a big festival without having to be there. Now, is it different? Is it different when you're like, 100 feet away from the stage in a sea of people? Yeah, it's way different. Yeah. But it still gives you a general sense of what's happening.
So you say that, but I'm talking specifically about raves. I've been to plenty of music festivals.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But but raves, they go all out with the colors and the lights and the flashing lights, and people are jumping up and down everywhere. They're nuts. They're nuts. Yeah. By the way, something that you might not know about me. Obviously I'm a rock guy, played in a band.
Okay.
If you listen to the first podcast, one of the topics we talked about was the first song I ever recorded on guitar. I did like 4 or 5 guitar tracks.
Okay.
And then recorded a song that way back in college. So if you listen to by the way, if you have not listened to the first podcast, go back, listen to that one, because we we talked about the cringiest and listened to the cringiest song you will ever hear in your entire life. So that alone was amazing. But you know me, Shadows. I'm a guy that likes my rock music. I've been to multiple raves, multiple, like more than I can count. And when I was living in Washington, I traveled to Florida and went to Ultra.
Oh, nice.
Which is like the biggest well, I guess in the top 5, right? It's in the top 5 biggest raves in the US by far.
Yeah.
Probably the top 2. The 2 that come to mind are Tomorrowland. Well, no. I think it's in the top 3. I think it's the third biggest because there's EDC, Tomorrowland, and I think Ultra is probably third to Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
But I think Tomorrowland and Ultra are really close in size. Obviously, EDC, the one in Vegas, is the biggest. That's the biggest one. But I was at Ultra 2019. And let me see. Can I pull up the lineup real quick here? Yeah. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's go down the list here. I'm just gonna go down the list of some of the artists that were there. This isn't even all of them. Afrojack, Alesso, Armin van Buuren, The Chainsmokers, David Guetta, Marshmello, Martin Garrix, Rez, Tiesto, Zed's Dead, Carl Cox. I mean, there's so many. Carl Cox was there.
Oh, wow.
I'm going down the list, trying to see some of the other big ones. Richie Houghton was there, maybe not quite as big. Deadmau5, Galantis, Grizz, Illenium. Did I say Odessa?
No, you didn't say Odessa.
Okay, yeah, he was there. Let's see. Cash was there. Infected Mushroom. Oh my goodness. Have you heard any of Infected Mushroom's music?
No, I have not.
Oh man, Infected Mushroom's good. They're like what's the best way to describe it? It's dance music. It's it's EDM, but they incorporate a lot of rock music. They do a lot of live performance. And so their music really lends itself to festivals and live presentation, because it's not a guy, they're not DJing, right? They're a lot of the time they're performing. They have backing tracks and things that are recorded, but there's also a really strong live component to it, which is really cool. Going down the list, who else played? There's a few more big names. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Yeah, there's more. There were more big names. I'm spacing a bunch, but I mean, you get a sense of how big it is, right? That's basically the who's who of EDM right there.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
God.
And by the way, Tomorrowland is the biggest EDM festival in
It's bigger than EDC?
World. Yep.
Oh, wow. I had no idea. I've never been.
The second one is EDC.
Yeah. That was my assumption.
And Ultra is literally third.
Hey, okay, so I actually I flip-flopped it. I didn't know that Tomorrowland was bigger than EDC. Just because EDC has been around so long. They had the Netflix, movie about EDC. I just, and you hear a lot about it, right?
Yeah.
I think in terms of name recognition, and I could be wrong, I think that EDC is more commonly heard of. I think that's the more.
Well, you also live in the United States.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What's it called? Tomorrowland is
East
apparently
Coast.
based out of no. Tomorrowland is based in Belgium.
Oh, okay. Oh, that explains it, because the one that they do on the East Coast, that's only a portion of their. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So technically speaking, you're right. In the United States, that is the largest music or EDM festival, but not in the world.
But
The
if you
world is
no,
Tomorrowland.
I meant in the U.S. But yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense because
Yeah.
Tomorrowland spans multiple countries. When you're looking at it globally, Tomorrowland's bigger.
Yeah, but it
Right.
originally apparently started in 2005, so there's that.
Yeah, and I think didn't EDC start when they were doing like their underground stuff? Didn't it start way before that?
I think so. I know that what's it called? Ultra. I don't know why I keep saying Ulta, like the
97.
makeup company.
Yeah,
We are not.
Yeah,
We
by the
are
way, that's
not.
by the way, as a single guy,
Yeah.
I've shopped there a lot at Ulta.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're asking yourself, what business would a single guy have at Ulta? But
What business
I'll
do
tell
you have at Ulta?
I'll tell you. When you walk in there as a somewhat attractive single guy around the
I already know
holidays,
where this is going.
and you say,
Okay.
you walk in there and you're like, I'm gonna get something for my mom or something for my younger
Aw.
sister,
Yeah.
and you walk in there as a somewhat attractive single guy. And all I do is walk in and I look up at the ceiling and then over to my right, like right shoulder. I look up at the ceiling and look to the right shoulder. The people that work there flock to you. And I would say, look, they'd be like, oh, how can we help you? Da 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 da. And if you've ever been to an Ulta, all the women that work there are like freaking models, right? They're usually got like long blonde hair. They have a lot of makeup on, and they're all did up. They're all did up there, and they got nice fingernails, and they're well put together, right? Like they went shopping at like Ann Taylor, and they have like a professional kind of look about them, but it's also pretty attractive as well. But anyways, you walk in there and you go, I just want to do something really nice for my mom for Christmas. Or it's my sister's birthday coming up, and you just say, I don't belong here. I don't know any of this stuff. I wake up in the morning and I kind of chew my own fingernails. Like what should I get my mom? She's a younger mom that likes to look good. But usually she doesn't want to spend money on herself. And I say, what can I get her to make her feel really good about herself? You come in there and say stuff like that, you would not believe the number of phone numbers I've gotten. The number of women that melt like right in front of you when you say stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, I know by the way, I walk into Ulta. I know exactly where everything is. I know that the best deals are the little gift bags that they put together. I know to stay away from the actual makeups and to go towards some of the bigger things like the scented stuff, the scented products. Anything with scent is going to be a little bit cheaper and get you more bang for your buck. Right?
Yep.
Right? So I know my way around in Ulta pretty well. I could get stuff. Like I know for my sister that if I wanted to get her stuff that she's gonna use, it's gonna be some really neutral colored makeups. I know that I could wow her and get her some really poppin' lipstick. If you want bang for your buck, you stay away from that stuff because it's super expensive.
Oh yeah, no,
I know my way around in Ulta, but when I walk in that door. When I stroll through that entrance, even if it's like close to like Black Friday, even if it's around then, when there's a ton of people in there, if I start looking around clueless, guarantee you, Shadows, I will have someone by my side asking, "Oh, what do you need help with? How can we help? What do you have?" And the more out of place I look, like if I walk in there with my leather jacket, hat, they're gonna be rushing over to help me in a heartbeat.
Yeah, So I worked in the beauty industry.
Yeah. Oh.
And that is how you have to look. So as you're talking about it, I'm like, yeah, that's basically a hair salon. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. But the one thing that drove my boss up the wall while I was working at the hair salon was I can't wear makeup.
Okay.
My skin is too sensitive, and
I
will look worse for it. And he was always like, you need to wear makeup. You need to wear makeup. You're a part of the beauty industry. You have to wear makeup. You know, you have to do your hair. You have to. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yep.
I was like, I can't wear makeup. I'll put lip gloss on. And she's like, aren't you wearing makeup right now? And I'm like, no. Why do you think I'm wearing makeup? And she goes, your face. And I was like, it's because I'm not wearing makeup that my face looks the way that it does.
Right. Yeah.
And she's like, why are your eyelashes so long? I said, I don't know. They just grow that way. I was like, I don't know. I can't wear mascara because so she did enforce me to do it the first month that I worked there. And I had to call out of work 5 times because I had styes on my eye. And I came into work because I was like, you want to know what? This isn't a reason for me to call out. I got sent home.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She sent me home because I looked like I was in a prize fight.
Yep.
My eye was so swollen. She was like, what's wrong with you? And I said, it's because you told me to wear eyeliner.
Yep.
And I just stared at her. And I was like, I can't help that my face doesn't like makeup.
Right.
So, yeah. But buying makeup, I have a really weird thing with colors that my sister, my younger sister specifically, drags me to makeup stores, like either to a CVS or to an actual like Ulta or something.
Yep.
To be like, what color do you think I need to wear?
Yeah.
And like
yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is too dark for your face because my younger sister is a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
She don't have any color to her skin whatsoever. And I'm
right.
This is too dark. You're going to look like you're trying to be inappropriate because she works as a hostess. She's actually a manager of a restaurant too now.
Sure.
But I was like, no. You're gonna turn yourself brown, and you cannot turn yourself brown.
Right. Yeah. Right.
You're way too white for this. So I was like, no. It's this one. And she's like, are you
get
sure?
Get the marshmallow makeup. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And every time she's like, why do you know? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know why I know anything. I don't even wear makeup.
You just you have an eye for it though. You know, some people are naturally gifted at random things, and that would be one of them for you.
Yeah.
Just finding makeup.
Yeah, finding makeup and finding outfits, because Lord help me, that girl can't dress herself to save her freaking life.
Yep. I mean, I'm in the same boat.
Oh God. Heylow, if I ever meet you, am I going to just lose my mind at you?
Yep. Yes. You're going to be very, very disappointed. You'll be like, what the hell are you doing, man? Hey, we're going to whip me into shape. Tell me what I need to do.
Oh God. You're going to be as bad as Berserk.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that Berserk is put together poorly or anything, but yeah, I would be in the lowest tier. Whatever that lowest tier is, yes, that's the tier I'm in for sure.
So the problem is that since Berserk is colorblind, there are certain colors that he can't identify.
Yeah, no, I have no excuse.
Yeah, no, his red and his greens. I know you have no excuse. We'll get back to that.
Yeah.
He honestly, he loves the color red, but he looks atrocious in red.
Well, I mean, red is it's a pop in color. It's pop, and if you're wearing red, people's eyes are drawn to that. It stands out more.
Except his face, he has too much red in his face.
Yep.
and it makes him look like he's angry.
Okay.
And I'm like, no. So I try to get him to wear more greens.
And by the way, he is the nicest, most humble, most selfless guy you will ever meet. Sword is, and for him to look angry would be a shock to me.
It is legitimately so weird to see him in red, and I'm like, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it. And he's like, can we not? And I'm like, no, you're not allowed to wear this anymore. And I just kind of chucked it. And he hasn't worn red in a really long time.
Yep.
Because I'm like, no, you look atrocious in red. I'm sorry. I'm like, I love you.
Yeah. He's letting go. He's passing the reins off. That's a sign of trust right there.
I mean, I would hope so.
Yeah.
We've been together for 7 years.
7 years. That is a long time. What do you guys are dating? What do you call it?
We are in a relationship.
In a relationship. And what?
Yeah, we're dating.
Are dating. Okay. I just didn't want to say the wrong thing, and I mean, I know you would never be. I don't want to get the terminology wrong. Dating in a relationship, 7 years.
Yeah, we're not engaged. We're partners, and that's how I typically refer to him, is my partner.
Right. Okay. Can I ask a really dumb question?
Sure.
Why do you call him a partner and not a boyfriend girlfriend situation? Is there something behind that is happening that I might not be aware of, or?
So for me, it's because I'm non-binary.
Sure.
I typically go by she, her.
Right.
And I try to, dress the fashions that I want to dress as. And I dress more masculine. So I get a lot of people who think I'm a lesbian.
Sure.
And then I say partner, and I like the confusion that crosses their face.
I was going to say, but that would be right. That wouldn't take away from the confusion, but sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But
kind of plays
one of the things is that he's in his 30s and I'm in my late 20s.
Okay.
So honestly, I don't feel like he's really my boyfriend anymore.
Why? Okay.
Because he's not really a boy. He is a guy. He's a man. I mean, and it always made me feel weird being called girlfriend, which is why he refers to me as partner too.
Yeah.
Like on stream, he'll say my partner, but then you get that confusion from people that think we're married. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. And I just didn't know. Yeah. Okay. That'll everything you're saying makes sense.
Yeah. So it's just I like the confusion that it gives to some people, but people who know us know that we've been together. Like my family knows that we've been together for this amount of time. His friends know we've been together this amount of time.
Okay. Can I ask I asked one dumb question. Can I ask another?
There is no dumb questions. There's only dumb answers. So go for it.
Why is the world flat?
Why is the world flat?
I mean, you said there's no dumb questions. I'm pretty sure I just asked one, right?
No. The world's not flat, though. It's spherical.
No, it's a dumb question. Okay, fine. No dumb questions.
What was the actual question?
Yeah, the actual question is, how? Okay, so you said, hey, I kind of don't mind the confusion when, I dress and kind of present myself the way that I do. And I'm, dating a man, and I say partner, and people that make assumptions about me, it throws them for a loop, and they're like, oh, okay, maybe she's a lesbian, right? The question I had was based on that. How does Sword is he super cool with the fact that he's calling people partner as well, but he's not dating a guy, he's dating a woman? Does he enjoy that the same way you do?
I think that ultimately nobody sees him as gay.
Oh, okay,
really
okay. They don't make that inference based on appearance and presentation.
Yep.
Okay. So right.
You know how soft-spoken he is.
Sure. Yes. Of course.
So when we first met, my friend was like, I have a guy that you need to meet, and I had just come back from Japan, and I was like, I had been put on so many blind dates every time that I was in Japan or when I came home.
You lived in Japan? I didn't know that. I need to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Okay, but go ahead. Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I'll meet. Has to be on my time, so I want to spend time with my family.
I can hear myself in the background now. Oh, okay. I think we're good. So go ahead and start again. You kind of cut out for a second there.
Okay.
You came back from Japan and what?
And I had a friend who told me she really wanted me to meet a guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. I had been put on so many blind dates when every time I came home from Japan or anytime I was in Japan, I'd have people putting me on blind dates.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I was like 19, 20. I was like, I don't need to be on blind dates, y'all.
Right.
I'm young. I got this.
Yeah. Right. Oh, yeah.
And they were like, well, you haven't dated anyone since you were like 17, so we want you to date, we don't want you to die alone. And I'm like,
but you've been on dates. It's not like you've been alone this entire time.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm perfectly content with, taking care of my nieces and nephews and, and living my life.
Being a young adult, right. Yeah, you're right.
I graduated high school and I was like, I'm going to do like stuff. I don't need to settle down right now. Anyway, so I met him. After being threatened to be kidnapped by my friend, because I put this off for like 2 or 3 months.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And she called me one day and was like, hey, I have a burlap sack in my car. I'm coming to your house now. You have 10 minutes, and hung up the phone. And I went, I guess I got to get dressed.
Did you get conned?
Oh my God. I pulled on my shoes and she was knocking on my front door, and I was like, my mom answers and she goes, hi, who are you? And then she's like, I'm your daughter's friend. She goes, oh, you're the one who's threatening to kidnap her? And like, Jenny had her burlap sack tucked behind her back.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa. And she goes, oh, I didn't think you would come willingly. That's fine. Let's go. And like walk back to her car, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I go with her and we go out to a hookah bar.
Okay.
To show you that. And I'm sitting there, vibing at 19, and this huge guy comes in. Because I'm like 5'6", and he is 6'2", and I'm like, oh, all right. And she goes, that's him. That's the guy. And I'm like talking with someone. And I was like, okay, hold on one second. I'm talking to someone. She legitimately grabbed me by my hair when he sat down and threw me in the seat next to him and said, talk.
That's adorable. And how'd it go? Because you if you're out there and you don't know Shadows or you don't know Sword, in terms of personality, big opposites in terms of extrovert introvert, right? I see Shadows as extroverted. You're totally comfortable jumping into new situations, fresh situations, and in terms of like conversation and making friends, pretty comfortable with that. Sword, like you said, soft spoken. I would assume that he's more introverted in a new environment. Like if he was to go to like a house party, I would see him more like myself, where I'm a little more reserved, a little more hesitant to get involved. But I see Shadows as the one reaching out, making friends, and really thriving in that environment.
You want to know what the funniest thing is?
Yes.
In real life, it's the exact opposite.
No way.
Yes, it is.
What?
I have a hard time connecting with people face to face as opposed to online. I can talk and talk and talk all the time. But the problem is I get really nervous when I'm talking to people. And legitimately, one of our bona fide contentions in our early relationship is that every Friday he had to have a house party, and we'd have 30 people some of which that we didn't know,
Sure.
coming to drink at the house, and I'm just like, can they leave? It's too much. And he's like, oh no, we're having a good time. We're having a good time. I'm just, I'm gonna have another drink and I'm gonna go smoke a cigar and talk to people. And
really?
like, oh my God.
Yeah. So Party Sword and Party Shadows are flip-flopped. That's interesting. I would not have guessed that. I wouldn't want 30 people over at my house just because I don't want to deal with 30 people at a time.
Yeah, but he was younger then, and so was I.
Like in college, I went to house parties and stuff, and I usually went to like it was my friends that would throw them, right? And I would go and hang out with them. But, there would be 50 people in the house at times, and, 5, 10, maybe 15 people. Yeah. I did okay in that environment, but man, I would never want that many people. Not so much because of the interaction. I just don't want to clean up after like 30 people, but also dealing with and when you get drunk kids, I never wanted to deal with that. Look, when I was 20, 21, 22 drinking and stuff, I wouldn't want to deal with that. I know what I was like. I wouldn't want to deal with myself. And I don't want to deal with other people similar to me in that same situation. It's a lot to handle. By the way, I'm the one that when I get drunk, I turn into a more lighthearted version of myself.
Yeah.
I start caring less. I laugh even more, and that's basically me. And so there'll be times where I'll put down, 12 beers in a night and then a couple of shots. And people are like, oh, you need to do another shot. You're not drunk. I'm like, look, man, I'm already Ubering home. I could barely even look at my phone right now. I see like 3 cell phones when I look down. And they're like, what? No way. You need to do another shot. I'm like, look, man, I'm wasted. And they're like, no. Like, I've had that conversation more times than I can count in my entire life. Shadows. I most like if I'm around someone that doesn't like super like know me that well and I drink like that, that's what people that they say they go to that. That's the first thing they say every time.
Yeah. But I was always uncomfortable in those types of situations. Yeah. So on the first day that we met, I turned to him, smiled so sweetly, introduced myself, and said, now, if you'll excuse me, I have a conversation that I was in that I need to finish. And he was like, okay. And just sat there. He was vibing and hanging out with, all the people who were there.
A little bit.
And I was talking with someone that I hadn't seen in a couple of months because I was out of the country.
Yeah.
And I finally came back over to him and we started talking. And he was like, he's like, so what do you do for a living? And I was like, this is such a weird conversation. And I was like, you were
pretty nervous going into that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is if you don't know him, he is a big, intimidating man upon looking at him.
Sure. I didn't realize he was 6'2".
Yeah, he's very tall.
I'm 5'9".
Yeah, I'm 5'6". So I'm like, I'm like 7 or 8 inches shorter than him, and I'm just like, I feel so tiny by comparison.
Right.
But he and I were talking. He told me he worked for GameStop, which I was like,
oh, he's a millionaire then.
No, not at all.
Have you seen their stock price in the last week? He would be.
Oh God, no. He doesn't work there anymore.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was like, well, I don't actually work anywhere. Directly out of high school, I started traveling to and from Japan. And he was like, oh, that's super interesting. And we were, shooting the shit, talking back and forth. And by the end of the night, I was paying for my part in the hookah, and he was like, no, I'll take care of it. And I was like,
right. Yep.
Sure?
Yep.
And he's like, yeah. Oh, by the way, and he handed me a GameStop card. And I went, okay, well, you have a good night.
He handed you. I like that. He didn't ask for your number. He gave you a GameStop
We'll get back to
Business
the GameStop card because
Yeah.
I tucked it into my wallet. I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
And I drove away.
Yeah.
And he drove away. And I was like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Right.
And
I was connecting with a guy on a
text-
personal level, and he gave me a business card.
Yes, but the thing about the business card is I never looked at it.
Okay.
It had his personal cell phone on it.
Oh.
Because he wrote it in pen while we were paying for the hookah.
Right. Yeah. Like on the back or something. Yeah. Uh-huh. Right.
So I got a phone call the next day saying, "Hey, why didn't you text him?" And I went, "Text who?"
Oh, and you didn't see it at that point. You didn't.
Nope. And she was like,
"You're like, what? The business card that I got? Oh, maybe because it's a business card. I didn't take a look at it beyond that."
And she was like, "Oh my God, you're such an idiot." And I'm like, okay. I got into my wallet and his name was written on it in nice, clean handwriting with a phone number. And I went, "Oh shit."
Okay. That's a little awkward. To be fair, you know, to future Sword, in case things don't work out with Shadows, or to anybody listening, if you hand a chick that you're interested in your business card, you might want to tell them, you know, when you hand over the card that you wrote your personal phone number on it. It's not enough just to hand it to them. You gotta indicate, hey, my personal number is included on this. You know, just throwing it out there. That would have been helpful. In that situation. But it's also funny that you dismissed it as a business card and didn't see the personal number written on it.
Yeah, I by the way, I still have that business card because it makes me laugh every time I look at it.
Frame it, put it on the wall. Yeah. I like it.
So we started talking and hanging out, and I went over to his house with my friends, and they drove me. They were like, "Oh, don't bring your car. We'll drive you home." And I went to the bathroom. This is the third time that I have met him.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the bathroom and I came out and my friends were gone. I had to ask, it was my friends who left.
Oh, it was your friends that left. Okay.
Yeah, so I had to ask him for a ride home. And that was really awkward.
And that was date number 3?
That was talking number 3. We finally went on a friend date because we definitely weren't in a relationship. We definitely weren't dating.
Yeah.
We went to the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to the river. The Rappahannock River.
Just the two of you?
Yeah.
There you go.
And we swam, and we continued, like, we were talking, dropping all this great information and all that stuff. And I ended up popping my tire on the curb that day.
Oh,
and I was like, why is it every time something bad happens when I'm hanging out with this dude? I'm being driven crazy by this. And so the funniest part about that part of the story is I popped the tire and I growled. I slammed my head into my steering column. I was so angry. I opened my door and there was a man with 2 kids sitting across the street, and in the thickest Southern accent goes, ma'am, do you realize that you popped your tire? And I turn and look at this man, and Michael, because that's Berserk's actual first name.
Okay, yeah.
Climbed out of his truck and was like, and he was like looking at me, and he goes, "Do you want to fit?" I said, "Shh." And he was like, "Okay."
And
the guy, I looked over at the guy and I went, "Yes, I am aware that I popped my tire." He goes, "All right, I just wanted to ask and make sure that you knew that your tire popped." And he climbed into his car and left. Thank you.
By the way.
Yeah.
One thing that I still don't 100% understand. There's a big disconnect between what party A calls a date and party B calls a date. There's been so many times in my life that I'm like, look, what is this? Is this a date? Are we friends? Now you're throwing like friend date into this, like
So okay, I'll get
I'll just
there.
say this.
I'm
I'll
almost
just say
there.
this. Out of my experience, what the female that I'm dating calls a date.
Ooh. Yeah.
I mean, like anytime, like a lot of times when I'm dating a chick,
Yeah.
what they consider a date and what I consider a date, they're just not talking the same language. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, look, we're on date number 6. They're like, no, it's like date number 2. Like, what? What are you talking about?
So every person has a different expectation of what a date is.
I know, exactly.
Instance,
yes.
My type of what I would consider a date is, hey, we're gonna go and pick up some food and we're gonna chat and we're gonna hang out. I do not like going to movies when I'm meeting and getting to know someone, because the movies is the worst place to talk to someone.
Yeah, and a lot of experts would agree with that. That's you're definitely not alone in that. That's pretty. Yeah, I would agree with that too.
I'm perfectly content with you taking me to a McDonald's, you and I picking up fast food and sitting in a car or taking a walk after eating said food and talking. That's considered a date for me, but that's not 100% true for a lot of people. I don't like big shows of affection. I'm not a fan of them. I think that they're...
Yeah.
If you need to show your affection in this way, you're playing some sort of weird game in your head that you think that this is how...
Well, you're putting on a show.
Be. Oh, yeah, and I don't need it.
Yeah. I've dated a lot of women that like to do that as... They like the spectacle. They like the scene of it. They like the attention that it generates, whether it's positive or negative. But yeah. I'm the same way. I'm like, let's calm it down there, lady. Calm it down there. We don't need to make a show here. And
take me to dinner and take me into Walmart, and that's a date. Let us go walk. We don't even have to buy anything in Walmart, but walking and talking is one of the things that I love. Like, learning about people is what I find more interesting in a relationship. And as you get more comfortable, as I am now, just going to dinner and coming home is a date.
Sure. Oh yeah, that's good. Well, like you said, you like the more traditional approach, right? That's like getting to know someone, and it's the conversation, the interaction, and having that back and forth dialogue, right? And that's absolutely critical to a successful relationship that could blossom to something long term, is being able to connect with someone, being able to be yourself around someone, being able to effectively communicate your thoughts and opinions to.
Yep.
If you can't do that, that's not the formula for success.
Yeah.
Not long term.
So why I said it was a friendship date is because we were becoming friends. I didn't see him in a romantic light.
But that, man, you're talking another conversation I've had with chicks way too many times.
Okay, so let me say that this.
I'm just gonna say this. Look. Hey, to any lady out there, if I've been to your place 5 or 6 times, that's not that I'm not doing it because we're buds. I'm not gonna fist bump. I'm not gonna fist bump you afterwards. We're not pals. We're not gonna high five. Okay.
So this is.
If I go over to your house and we're watching Magic Mike, I'm not doing it because we're buddy. Okay. I'm not the guy for that.
Okay, so the reason why I say it's a friendship date is I will explain. I will get there in this explanation.
Sure, go ahead.
So we talked on the riverbank because he jacked up his knee, and it's still jacked up, by the way, to this day.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. He did something that he wasn't supposed to, and I told him not to do it, and he did it anyway because he was 26 and stupid.
Yeah.
So I was like, you did this to yourself, bud.
You had this coming, man.
Yeah, I warned him. I warned you.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
also a conversation I've had a lot.
Yeah. So we talked and talked and talked and talked, and then things got a little weird because we kind of became friends with benefits.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That happened once. And then he was like, hey, I want to take you out to a bar. You know, do you want to go? And I went, we can go to this bar because they'll let me in. Because I can play pool there. And he went, wait, what do you mean? I was like, I'm not 21.
Oh.
I'm 19.
Yeah.
And I have never
Had you guys
seen
been
a
drinking?
man.
Have you like drank in front of each other before that?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Yep.
Anytime friend interactions
Sure.
was because I was so uncomfortable that I was afraid to have a drink.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll just drink my soda, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just going to sip my soda while everybody else is. And he was like, wait, you're what? And I was like, yeah, I'm 19, bro. Didn't you know that? And he went, no, you're a child.
And I'm sorry. And what's the age difference between?
We are 6 years apart.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not that bad.
Actually, no, it's more like 5 years. But yeah, it's not bad. But I'm 19 and he is like 26, and he was freaking out. Not 26. He was 24, and he was freaking out. And I was like, dude, it's not that serious. And he's like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. You're like a child. You're like 12. And I was like, I'm a legal age.
Yeah, definitely. Like, calm it down there, buddy. Not 12. Yeah. Like, no one's going to jail in this scenario, for one.
And he was like, he panicked so bad that he wouldn't talk to me for a little bit. And I was like, okay, well, he needs to chill out and calm down. And at this time, I had so when you're taking care of children in a military in a foreign country, if the parents are leaving for any length of time that's longer than a day, you have to have power of attorney.
Okay.
So basically, I was a local apprentice to the kids that I was taking care of while I was in Japan.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. That makes sense.
If anything happened to their parents, even if I wasn't in Japan, even if I was just in the States, if something happened to both of their parents, it was my responsibility to fly out there and get the kids.
Right.
Because the kids were American citizens and they needed to come home.
Yep.
Like, so at this time, I'm like basically a step parent to kids that I watch in Japan. And I'm like, bro, it's really not that serious. Like, for real. It's not that serious.
Yeah.
So we continued to, mess around and do stuff after he got over whatever the heck he was getting through.
Sure.
And there was a day that I came over to his apartment and we were hanging out, and a young lady came in.
Oh.
This young lady saw me.
Yeah.
Saw him.
Yeah.
And she was like, Michael, I need to talk to you. And he's like, okay, yeah, sure.
Okay.
So he goes over and they go away and they go and privately chat, and she leaves and he's like, all right, I'm so sorry about that. And I was like, so who is she? And he goes, oh, that's my ex-fiance.
Whoa.
Yeah. He was living with his ex-fiance at that time, which is why when I said friendship date, I meant that neither of us, because he had just gotten out of an engagement. And in saying that, my friend didn't tell me that he had just gotten out of an engagement.
Yeah.
And I went, oh.
Yeah, but also living with your ex-fiance, that would be brutal. I mean, I've never been engaged or anything, but that would be look, if you were engaged to someone, if you were engaged and broke it off and are no longer seeing that person, you would want out of that situation pretty hard. And to not be able to leave that situation because of a lease, a mortgage, any other situation that would force you to stay in close proximity to that person, that would be a nightmare.
Yeah, and I was like,
a nightmare.
Oh. So as we have talked a bunch of times, this is like 6 months into us hanging out and doing stuff, and I went, you didn't think to tell me that you had an ex-fiance?
That you're living with? That you're currently living with?
And he is like, it's not that big of a deal. And I went,
well, but it kind of is.
Halo, I'm so glad that you see it my way, because
No, hey,
definitely
look.
that time I was like,
Yeah. Look. I'm not just saying this because you're currently talking to me on the phone. Like I'm not doing this because you're a guest or anything. But low key, if there's a chick you're, really interested in and are seeing, you kind of gotta let them know that, hey, by the way, I'm living with my ex-fiance. It's like it's not an easy conversation, but you kind of gotta do it. You gotta say it.
so there was a lot of complications with that.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why you tell someone.
So the thing is that he was seeing me to get back at her.
No,
because she had cheated on him and left, like, called off the engagement. Right after they had signed the lease. Like, literally a month after he signed the lease.
Oh my God.
So they're stuck, and he was angry and he was hurt, and it was a lot that happened. And I was like, well, I have 2 more months and then I'm leaving again. I'm going back to Japan. And I was like, what are we? And he goes, oh, don't worry about it. He's like, I was like, I know that we, have been messing around. And I was like, and I understand if that's all you want, but I can't do that forever.
Right. Yeah.
And he was like, well, don't worry about it. And we continued to hang out. And then I left and I went to Japan. And when I came back, the last time I came back from Japan was a freaking nightmare. And I will explain more about that in a little bit. But I need to recollect.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The first day I set back into Virginia.
Yeah.
I had not slept in 38 hours. I was tired. I
From
was
the flights?
asked to drive. Huh?
From the flights?
Oh, from the flights.
Oh,
yes.
I've never done a flight like that before. The longest flight I've ever done is like 6 hours.
Yeah. So a direct flight to Japan from where I am is 24 hours.
Oh,
but
my
that's
God.
not.
I didn't even know they could fly planes for that long.
Yeah. It flies out of Dulles up north into across Canada, across the Pacific Ocean to Japan.
So when I booked my flight to and from Ultra, I used like a third party kind of like Expedia site, right? So I got a really good deal on it. And on the way back, I flew out of what it was okay. I flew out of Orlando, or Miami. I flew out of Miami, and on the way back home, I went from Miami to Chicago, and then from Chicago to Portland, which is right next door to Seattle, right? Like a 30-minute flight, and then from Portland to SeaTac. So what I did was, and because I hate long flights like that, I went from Miami to Chicago, and listen to this. I pulled the maneuver of a lifetime, Shadows. You know what I did? I had a 3-hour layover in Chicago, and then I was supposed to have another 2-hour layover from Portland to SeaTac. So just in layover time, not even flight time, like forget about the fact that you're literally flying from Miami to Seattle in a kind of jagged fashion. I had 5 hours of layovers between the two of them. And what happened was I flew into Chicago, and I just went to my gate, and I was like, well, what am I going to do for the next like 3 hours? And so I sat in front of the gate, found that little cushy chair, and I was just sitting there, and I look over, and lo and behold, only like 2 gates down, there was a sign that said, hey, this is the same airline. I think it was like United or whatever, right? And they're like, hey, this is Chicago to SeaTac.
Yeah.
And I had been sitting down for maybe 15 minutes in Chicago at that time. And so I'm sitting there, and they were like, oh, last call for boarding. Last call. We're about to shut the gate. And I just walked up there and I go, hey, look, my flight is supposed to take me to Portland and then SeaTac, but I see that you guys are going right to SeaTac. And I said, is there any way I could catch a flight directly from? I was like, can I just like hop on? Can I just hop on that flight and get into SeaTac? Like, I was like, look, if you guys do this, you'll save me like 4.5 hours. And they're like, oh yeah, we could see about that. Da, 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 da. They come back like the gal is like she plays around on the keyboard a little bit, does that sort of thing, and lo and behold, like, oh, we have one seat available. I'm like, I'll take it. I don't care if it's middle seat sitting on a pot. I will take it if it saves me a layover into Portland and then another flight from Portland up to. I was like, I'll take it, and yeah, it worked out, and I just kind of snuck on, whoop, got right on it, gotten home like 4.5, 5 hours earlier than I expected. Oh, it felt so good. But anyways, so kind of going back to your story, you'd spend time in Japan. How long did you spend in Japan?
3 months.
3 months. And what was out in Japan that drew you out there?
My older sister Dorothy's husband was stationed out there, and at the time she had 3 children, and then she was expecting her 4th.
Oh,
and
to
then
help
she
out?
was expecting her 5th.
Yep.
Yes.
You flew out there, help out the family, you know, you get a little vacation in you. Man, that's cool. And so you were out there for 3 months, and you hadn't slept in 38 hours. You get into Virginia.
I was asked to drive my nephew to choir at my parents' church.
Yeah.
So I had to go drive up north, and I'm still like half asleep. I am so tired. And the first night back, at this time, Michael had moved back in with his mom. His lease was finally up by the time, I came back from Japan, and he moved in with his mom, and I ended up staying at his house that night. The first night I came back to the States.
Wow.
Yeah. The actual state that I lived in, because I was technically in the States for 20 hours or something like that.
Sure. Right.
That whole situation was a freaking nightmare. Anyway, so we started hanging out, and he took me out for Valentine's Day. He dressed up really nice. We went to go see a movie. He bought me an expensive bottle of liquor.
Yeah.
And
wow.
I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, whoa. And I've come to find out.
So he's like, hey, let's pick up where we left off. And it kind of caught you off guard a little bit. Yeah. Look at the gentleman coming out of Sword.
Yeah. That's kind of where that gentleman part ends. So he invited me over for a house party at his mother's house. He had friends there, and I see his ex-fiance getting her hair done on his front porch. And I went, oh, well, I'm really uncomfortable.
Wait, what? What? Still?
Yep.
I thought the lease was over. I thought they were out of that situation. Why is she there?
Because they're friends. They were friends.
Oh, no.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So you're in the same boat that I felt like I
have my own opinion. Yeah, anyway. I'll keep it to myself for now. But yeah, go ahead.
So we were hanging out watching movies upstairs after she was done getting her hair done, because there's a bunch of people who were smoking weed, smoking hookah, and everybody had to do it outside because Berserk's mom did not like that stuff in the house, which honestly, reasonable. And we went upstairs to go to his mom's house is bonkers. There's a huge room in the attic that just is like a game room. And we were watching a movie, and he and I were sitting together and on the couch, and I got up to go to the bathroom, and I came back, and she was sitting next to him and where I was sitting. I was like, okay, this is fine. And I kind of sat somewhere else. So he moved over to sit next to me. We basically played a weird game of musical chairs. And I was so confused.
He was trying to get close to you, and you were kind of like edging away?
Oh, no. His ex-girlfriend would constantly sit next to him if I moved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a really weird game of musical chairs, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
And I'm just like, well, I guess I'm gonna go home because I feel super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And he grabs my arm and is like, no, you don't need to go home. And I'm like, am I staying the night? Like, what's going on? Because it's almost midnight. I'm tired. I want to go home, or I want to go to bed. And he was like, no, you can stay here. So he kicks everyone out of the house, and we go to bed. And I'm just
including the
yes.
ex. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. I later find out that his mom was super angry with him because she didn't like his ex-girlfriend, like, at all.
Oh, she was angry for even having her in the house. Yeah. Right. Okay, look. Just a little tangent. When me and Sword might disagree on this, but when I stop seeing someone or someone decides to stop seeing me, that's like end of the road for me. Just typically like just in the way that I do it. Hey, if we're calling it off, you lose access to everything. Okay, we're not being friends after that. There's no hanging out. I cut ties. I cut ties hard. I cut ties.
Yeah, and
I don't play games like that. I don't let exes. I don't hang out with exes. I mean, sure, you can leave a relationship and have it be on good terms. Be like, look, good times, deuces. Sorry you don't want to be in this situation, or for me, sorry, not doing it, later. That's the end of communication. Like, there's no back and forth beyond that.
Yeah. Well, I
know myself. I know myself well enough. If I was to ever get engaged and that engagement went sideways, cut it off.
Yeah.
I'd cut it off. I would not. I would. That would. That'd be.
So the issue.
I can't deal with that much. I can't deal with that much estrogen in my life. Like, can't do it. Just call it what it was and move on.
So the issue with that is that she was his first love. They had met when he was 20, and she was his first girlfriend.
Sure.
So he had never had this experience before. And
sure.
Versus me, who had been dating since I was like 15, 16.
Still.
Yeah. It was super uncomfortable. And I finally was like, okay, we're going to need to lay some ground rules with whatever this is going on. And he goes, well, we're, sort of seeing each other. And I said, yeah. I was like, it's either me or her.
Yeah, right. Sort of seeing two people at the same time is going to go not so great.
Yeah, except he wasn't seeing her because she was already seeing someone else. Like, it was a huge mess. And he was like, I don't know why you're so uncomfortable. And I'm like, I cannot explain to you if you don't already get it.
Yeah. Right. Like, we're speaking two different languages right now. If you don't get it now, you're not going to get it in 2 weeks or a month from now. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I hear you.
I was like, he's like, so what's it going to be? And he's like, well, I'm not going to stop talking to me. Then that is an answer. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to head out. And he went, huh? And I was like, yeah, I'll come by your house and I'll drop off the stuff that you gave me. And he goes, it was a gift. And I was like, I'll drop off the stuff you gave me and I'm out. I'm done. Bye-bye. So I left. And we proceeded to not speak for 9 months.
Whoa.
Yeah. I blocked his cell phone number. I blocked him on Facebook. I got into, so I didn't block him on Facebook at first.
Yeah.
But I got into the worst car accident I've ever been in on Easter of that year.
Oh, no. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine. I obviously survived.
Yeah.
I have a neat scar on my knee that I don't know where it came from, but fun times. The problem is that Easter happened to fall on March 31st.
Okay.
By the time I was able to let anybody know that I was okay, it was April 1st.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of people were like, oh, this is a practical joke. This is in poor taste. And I was like, I was legitimately in a car accident. I don't know what to tell you, friend.
Right. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep.
My car is totaled. My car is dead. Rest in peace, Toyota or Honda Civic. You did what you needed to do. I hit a tree. Anyway, so he messaged me and was like, oh my God, if there's anything I can do. And I was like, we're not talking.
Yeah, this is over.
So I blocked him. I blocked him on Facebook, and then I unblocked his cell phone number because at 6 months he didn't text me.
Right.
I was like, okay, cool. So this is over and done with. November of the same year, I got a text message that was like 3 pages long.
Oh no.
Of an apology. And I went, huh? This was in 2013, so I had a little flip phone.
So how? So I got I'm sorry. How long was that? How long was that after?
What? Oh, this was 9 months after we.
9 months.
6 months after we stopped talking, or the last time you messaged me.
Okay.
And it was in November, and I was like, "Oh God, you still have my phone number?" Because I deleted it. And
I've had that conversation before. Yeah.
I was trying to figure out whose number it was. And he even signed his name at the end of it. He basically apologized for all the hurt that he caused me and that he really wanted me in his life. And he's like, I'm okay with you, not dating me, but I do want you in my life. And I would love to, have a conversation face to face. So on November the 5th in 2013, I went over to his house and we talked. Mm-hmm. And I found out that his ex-fiance, her father, lived in a shed in his backyard. So guess who also is there?
Don't say it.
Yeah.
Oh, no way. Was really?
Yep.
Okay.
So the last time I ever saw her was 2 years into our relationship.
Right.
Yeah. So I hung out with him and I was like, if you don't understand why I'm upset, then we shouldn't continue to talk. And he followed me out to my car and he grabbed my arm and was like, hey, I'm really trying out of I can't help that her dad doesn't have a home and so on and so forth. And I'm like, bro, you think her dad's the problem? And I just stared at him. I was like, oh God. So for the next month, he went and called me every day. He messaged me every day. We talked every day until December 21st. And I went over to his house for a party because, everybody was getting ready to do their Christmas stuff. And he was like, so, you're like my girlfriend, right?
You're like my girlfriend, right?
This man, if we ever were to break up, Heylow, I don't think he'd be able to get into another relationship.
Yeah.
It's so nuanced nowadays that I don't think he would know how to do it. And I just stared at him. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I guess I'm your girlfriend. And he said, okay, cool. And I said, you do realize that you just doomed yourself, right? You couldn't wait till next month. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, you do realize that my birthday's in December? Our anniversary now is in December.
Yep.
And Christmas is in December, right?
No, and doomed. Doomed. The homie put his life together the best way possible. He didn't doom himself. What?
Oh.
No. Because sure, your wallet's going to take a hit. There's no way around that. But the chances of him ever forgetting a birthday, ever running out of time to get a gift. No, he's gonna bang out a bunch of gifts in 1 month, call it good, wash your hands off, and call it good for 11 months. He's in the best situation possible, not the worst.
Oh, we're gonna agree to disagree because I know for a fact that he regrets that decision now.
Why? Why? What's the downside?
He worked retail.
Yeah.
And I
sure.
don't know if you know that
Yeah.
December is a no
Sure.
blackout day.
Sure.
So you can't take a day off.
Sure. Yep.
But by the time we started dating, he actually had just walked out of GameStop and
Okay.
was looking for a new job because they fired a manager that he really liked.
Oh no. Yep.
And they fired him because he had been there so long that he was making more money than the district manager.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they found a really stupid reason to fire him, and he took one look at them and was like, okay, gave them his store key and was like, bye.
Right. Yeah. By the way, isn't what's happening with GameStop absolutely crazy? Have you been keeping up with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
With their stock.
We've been cackling the whole time. Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. So in case there's anybody out there that is unaware or doesn't like fully
living under a shell,
fully understand what's going on, or like if you're somehow just unable to if you haven't heard of it by now, what's basically happening is GameStop sells for about $20 a share typically, and what's happening is a dude. Well, okay, so what's happening beyond that? Let's take it a step further. So people know that the outlook for a company like GameStop isn't great. They know the outlook for a company like AMC movie theaters is shaky, right? So what you can do is, instead of actually owning stock, you can say, okay, well, it's trading currently at $20. You can sell it without actually owning any of that stock. Common practice, nothing weird about it. It's called a short sale, right? You sell it when you have none, and you agree to buy it later at a different price, right? So people make money on that change, that falling in price. So if I go, look, GameStop's at 22 in a month, I expect that it's going to sell for 20. I can sell now at 22 and then buy back later when the stock price is 20, and I make money on that $2 per share shifting in price. So and what's going on at the real world level is hedge funds. So people in charge of trillions of dollars of funds, right? Hedge funds are doing this same practice, except they're managing the money of multimillionaires and looking at companies and stocks and buying and selling those. So what they've been doing, and this was again a common practice, was these hedge funds that are trillions of dollars were selling GameStop without actually owning it. They were doing short sales. And a guy on Reddit was like, look, if we pool our money together, the Reddit community, if we pool our money together, we can drive the stock price up, because the more demand there is for a stock, the increase, the more the stock goes up. So instead of the stock price falling, what's actually happening is, and this dude's, what's the name of the Reddit? It's Wall Street Bets, I think is what it is. I don't know. I'm not a Reddit guy. So. I'm not a Reddit guy. It's too toxic. It's too toxic for me. But I'm pretty sure the name of the subreddit is Wall Street Bets. Anyways, the guy that runs the Wall Street Bets Reddit subreddit page, Reddit page, I don't know, whatever. He was like, look, if we pool our money together and start buying GameStop, he's like, look, this is the most short sold stock in the market. We will drive that price up, and the more the price goes up, the more money these $1 trillion hedge funds are going to lose, and we are going to profit on it, because as that stock price goes up, they're buying the difference. So and if you don't do anything in terms of covering your bet, if you don't hedge against that risk, you can lose an uncapped amount of dollars. Right now, there's different techniques where you can you can do things like short sale, but then also buy a call option to cover it and kind of cap how much you can lose, right? But essentially, what's happening is you can lose X amount of dollars, in uncapped amount of dollars, because the more that stock price goes up, you already agreed to buy it, right? Because if you sold 1,000 shares at 20, you're at negative 1,000 shares. You're financially obligated to buy it no matter what that price lands at. So the stock was at $20, and this Reddit dude and his community started buying it, and other people got into it, and that stock price went up and up and up.
Yeah.
But you were going to say something? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the thing about the hedge fund thing is actually more like people own these stocks.
Yeah.
And the hedge fund people are like, hey, so we're going to borrow your stocks for like 2-3 months, and we will give them back to you after, this amount of time. Yeah. Which is one of the reasons why everybody's freaking out so bad, is mostly the hedge fund people, is because they bought these stocks. Yeah. Like they're borrowing these stocks, and now they're stuck with them right now because they can't afford. They sold them in a short sale.
Yep. They sold them at $20 back and now they have to buy them back. They have to buy them back. And by the way, that stock price isn't $18. It's not $16. No, one share of GameStop is $340, $330 right now. So not only did it go up, it went up 15 times the actual price of the stock, right? And everybody knows. Look, the value of that stock is nowhere near that price. But because there's been so much demand and people have been holding on to it, right? And that's why you see the memes like hold the line and stuff. It's like, don't sell. Force these guys to buy back at $3.15. Hold the line. Hold the line. It's such a weird. It's just such a weird case study, because what's happening now is they're actually creating more demand for short selling. You understand that, right? Because everybody now everybody knows. Everybody and their mother knows that GameStop, that was worth shorting at $20, is currently trading at $315. So instead of they're actually, in a sick, perverted way, they're actually encouraging hedge fund managers to short even more of it, because these guys that are managing other people's monies, they're losing more, and now they see this huge opportunity to sell while the stock is at $340. It's a sick cycle they found themselves in, because they're losing literally to the tune of trillions of dollars. They have every incentive in the world to sell now and capitalize on that stock returning to a more norm, right? Even if they short it at 300 and the stock price falls to 100, right? People sell off. People from Reddit made $100,000, $150,000, $200,000, right? They're more incentivized to sell it. That's driving the cost back down to the norm. They see that as an opportunity to short sell now, even though they're already in the hole, like big time. They see that as an opportunity to sell now and capitalize on that falling, but that's getting them back into the same situation that got them in the hole to begin with. It's a sick, twisted thing. And now, and by the way, and now there's some companies that see this weird irregularity, and the stock is actually being pulled. The stock is actually being pulled from those trading platforms. I think it was it Robinhood? I'm not super familiar with it, but I think it was the stock trading company Robinhood operates kind of like a Scott Trade or something like that, right? Where you can buy and sell stock. They actually pulled I didn't even know you could do that. I don't even know how legal that is. They've actually pulled it from their platform. And it's happened on a couple of different companies where they said, hey, we're not like this whole GameStop thing is nuts. It's beyond bonkers. So what they've done is they've just like, nope, you can't buy, can't sell it. We're just going to pull it for now. So it's like
I don't know if you heard, but there's actually a committee right now in the government that is literally investigating them right now.
Oh, the Robinhood company or okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's
and
like
as
it's not even
partial whole.
Right. What they're doing is I mean, at least as far as I know, it's pretty unprecedented. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure how many times a stock has been artificially driven up because people have banded together in an effort to basically give a middle finger to hedge funds. Like I don't think that's ever happened. And
so
it doesn't matter what side of this you fall on. It's unprecedented and bonkers. It's bonkers. It's bonkers.
Yeah,
it's absolutely
especially
bonkers.
with everything else that's happened this month. This year is already turning out to be real weird.
Yeah, right. This is so fitting for the last 12 months. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. But did you hear about the one gentleman? There is one gentleman who foresaw this happening a couple of years ago, and he took his life savings and bought GameStop stock
way.
with it. He is now a millionaire.
Well, yeah,
because of this.
Yeah, if he bought it years ago, yeah.
Yep. And he was just waiting. GameStop is one of those companies that people knew that this could hypothetically happen if
right.
people went through with it, but
sure.
And it's so funny to me that hedge funds don't even, like, the managers and stuff like that, don't even think about it because they think people are too stupid to figure it out.
Sure.
But
and maybe they were looking at
that,
it too simplistically, right? They said, hey, they were looking at it from the perspective of GameStop is a company that's being the competition is running circles around them, right? They're losing money to Steam, they're losing money to Amazon, especially during COVID. People are less likely to go in public into a retail store if they're even allowed to operate and buy games. That's really gonna impact their bottom line. So they're seeing this from the dollars and cents perspective, and I think what they were doing was valuating it based on sales, like taking a more a too traditional of an approach.
Yep, and that kind of
tipped their hand.
It tipped their hand. Now
they tipped their hand too much, and people caught on to what was going on, and all it took was someone with a following to raise the flag to buck that trend.
I kind of don't hold anybody at fault here because I think this is kind of hilarious because it just shows how stupid the stock market actually is and how unregulated it is, that just random people who are like, okay, yeah, no, screw these guys, we're going to do this. And they just go and do it, and there's nothing can be stopped. Like, they can't stop them because they're legally within their right. But also, they're just like, oh God, you're ruining our livelihoods. And that everyone else is just like, yeah, and you're a multi-million-dollar company.
Okay. So the question I have is does that show how unregulated it is, or does it show how open our market is and how everyday people can influence change and a result in that by using their own demand? What I'm proposing is the alternative is more regulation and saying, no, you can't buy this stock because it's being shorted. I think that approach would potentially be even worse. I think open market and less regulation and allowing people to fail might actually be the better approach here. I think I'm more team go Reddit people that banded together.
Yeah, but the thing is that since this has happened, that the people of Wall Street are going to take it away. They're going to lobby so hard to make sure that the common folk cannot ever do this again. And that is a problem. That is where my problem lies.
But that would, to do that, it would require more regulation.
Yep. And
then what I'm saying is I'd be against that. I don't think I would want that. I think the way we're doing it, the way we're doing it and allowing people to fail, I think it's I mean, one, it's something like this has never been so mainstream before. But I think allowing people to let it play out is the right approach.
It's showing such a huge flaw in the system. And when
what's the flaw though? What's the huge flaw?
For the people who work at Wall Street.
I don't care if they're flawed and lose money.
Yeah, I personally don't care either.
Okay, so what's the flaw?
It comes back around to these are the same people who are like, well, millennials can't afford X, or millennials because I happen to be a millennial, and I'm pretty sure
I'm a millennial too. I'm an old millennial. I'm 34, so I'm technically a millennial because the cutoff is like 3 or 4 years above me. So I'm on the top end of that, but I'm a millennial. But what's the flaw though? What's the if nothing changes, what's the flaw?
The flaw is that our government will bail their asses out anyway.
We don't know that.
We do know that.
Okay.
When 2008 happened, what did our government do? They bailed out Wall Street.
Sure.
It's an
no, they didn't bail out Wall Street. They bailed out banks.
Yeah.
They bailed out Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They said they deemed them as too big to fail. Wall Street didn't get bailed out. Wall Street, the stock market plummeted.
Hold on. I'm going to pull up the article for you, and I'm going to send it to you.
Yeah, help me understand. Wall Street didn't get bailed out. They lost. I had money. I had investments then, Shadows, and I lost money. I mean, granted, it was like only a couple $1,000s. Yeah, I lost money.
No, you lost money.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah,
the hedge funds didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, did they get a bailout because of that, or did they not lose money because they played the market?
Okay, so this is the actual act. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to. $1 trillion mess. Rolling Stone posted an article about it.
The Rolling Stone did?
Yeah.
Back like during the housing crisis?
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
So,
I hear Rolling Stone magazine publishing a finance article, and I'm kind of on board with it. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Anyway, and this is a quote from this article.
Sure.
Is not one major Wall Street executive went to jail for destroying our economy in 2008 as a result of their greed, reckless, and illegal behavior. No, they didn't go to jail. They got $1 trillion bailout.
It was the banks. Though.
I'm going to send you this article because it actually has what all happened with the actual.
Well, the whole thing is, at least with that, it was banks didn't have enough regulation, and they were giving people loans that they never should have had. That was the whole housing bubble, right?
Yeah,
and so
but
eventually it caught back up with them. That was
only part of it. That was only a part of it.
Yeah.
The other part was that Wall Street, like, legit, nobody failed at Wall Street.
Right.
None of them went to jail. None of them had to pay out a bunch of dollars. The government did.
Right.
So it was a really weird time because I was in high school then. It was such a weird situation to be in because like our house was, when we first bought it in 2001, it was a $300,000 home. Well, our house became almost $1 million home overnight. And we had a lot of people who were trying to buy our house off of us. It was really weird.
Yeah.
we had so many people who were like, oh, this is prime real estate. We want to buy your house for this X amount of dollars. My parents were like, no.
Right.
Do you see all these cars in our driveway?
Yeah.
These people live here.
Yep.
And at the time, like, I had a bunch of almost all of my siblings were living in the house, with the exception of 3. So
Right.
it was such a weird situation. But yeah, no, I'm not a fan of the people of Wall Street. They're kind of dicks.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah,
And that's just me being polite. And
Sure.
I say that's me being polite because I have a lot more names, but I'm not gonna yell about this. But yeah, now that I'm older and I've dealt with the stock market, I'm just like, yeah, you guys are all frauds. Maybe you guys shouldn't have bought that second boat. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, yeah. I mean, look. In the way I approach it is we're living in a capitalist society, and
yeah,
if not everyone can be equal. People are going to succeed. People are going to fail. People are going to fall in the middle. Our country does a good job of moving people from the middle up to the upper class. But the people that are up at the top, they need to be they're a part of this system too. And if they take a hit, that means that they're going to lose money, and people are going to benefit because of that. And that's what's happening.
Yeah, and that's.
No one did anything illegal to cause the sale of that stock to skyrocket. Is it artificial? Sure.
Absolutely.
No one out there believes that a $20 struggling retail company is worth 15 times its price. No, if you're taking a real world valuation of that stock, there's just no way. It's just so far and beyond any real world calculation. But it's also the stock market. You're betting to a degree, right? And buying moves the stock price up, selling drops it. So if people start buying it, it's going to move it up. That's how the game is played. The people in hedge funds, the stockbrokers, they understand this just as well as anyone. They agreed to these rules, and now it's biting them. So it's really unfortunate, but I mean, when the shoe is on the other foot, that's how it's played. That's how it's played.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That article is from 2019. I'm looking for a older article of 2008 so that it can actually like show. But seriously, it's a freaking nightmare out here.
Yeah. No. I'm a finance guy. Like, I studied finance in college. But again, it's like one of those things. Like, I didn't use a whole lot of that, like post college. So I didn't retain a whole lot of that. And by staying active in the stock market, I've kind of kept up with stocks and stuff. But I'm not a super expert on this stuff. But from my perspective, this is how it's played. The rules weren't broken.
Excuse me.
The rules weren't broken, and that's what happens. That's the result. Sure, it's artificial, but it happens all the time where stocks go up and down artificially. That's how the entire system is. That's how it works, right? Yeah. When people get bad news, what happens to a stock? It goes down. Not because of maybe that's the fair valuation of it. It's because they're afraid of the outlook. And even that can be artificial at times, right? If earnings come out and earnings are lower than expected, stocks go down. If earnings are higher than expected, they go up because of people's long-term perception of it and their theory of the direction of it, right? Their personal value has an impact on that. So, I think it's crazy. It's going to make for some interesting long-term case studies. And
Yep.
sure, you could say what you will about like long-term regulation, but as far as I see it, man, they played by the rules. They lost by the rules. They got to buy the stock that they sold.
Yeah, and they gotta, because they, like, some people, the time is coming up, and that they need to return the stocks to the rightful owner.
Yep.
And it's such a wild situation.
It's so wild.
And they're like, but what I was trying to say earlier is that these are the same people who are telling millennials that, hey, you shouldn't do this activity because otherwise, you'll lose your money. And I'm just sitting here watching these hedge fund, like, there's a hedge fund that's already claimed bankruptcy.
Sure.
And I'm
not surprised. Yep.
I'm cackling because I was like, oh, maybe you shouldn't have bought that second boat, bro.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good job. Maybe you should have been a little more frugal with your money, honey.
You need to pay some stock for that.
Yeah, and
true.
Then I get
it's
people
true.
who are like, well, you don't understand. I was like, these people are multimillionaires. They're idiots. Money don't make you smart, homie.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what about you?
I disagree. I think they're smart because they've been milking that system for years, Shadows. Years. They've been killed like that. That's why they're in charge of trillions of dollars, because they know how to work the system. They are. I think they're very smart. The only issue is that someone caught onto it, knew exactly what they were doing, and got smart about it.
Yep. And it feels like a cartoon villainy thing at this point. Like, you have these people who are like, oh, they'll never figure it out. And then someone does. And it's like, oh, no, you figured it out. Ah! Yeah.
Yep. And like I was saying, the mind-blowing piece of this is they're actually, in doing this and driving the price up artificially, they're literally, you understand that they're literally creating more demand for short selling.
Yep. I get that. It's a weird vicious cycle.
Because theoretically, me or you or a hedge fund could say, hey, they're at 340 right now. We know they're only bringing in $500 million of revenue a year. There's no way it's worth that. So the price is going to go back down.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Not unless the people of the stock market can actually like stop these people from doing it.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation.
Yeah. There's also another thing that's going on with the Robinhood thing, is that they're selling stocks by giving someone notice that they're selling the stock, and they do it.
Oh, they're basically forcing sales?
Yep.
Wow.
Which is another reason why they're being investigated.
Whoa. Is that specific? Is that specific to GameStop?
I'm not actually 100% sure.
Okay.
I just heard about it.
That's crazy. I
haven't
not
actually
heard of that.
read anything.
Yeah.
But there's someone who received an email and was like, yo, what? And they just did it. And I was like, oh, that feels illegal. But I'm not actually, I don't know enough about the system to know whether an app that you're doing stock trading on can sell your assets without, you having the predetermined knowledge and being like, yeah, I'm going to sell it.
Right.
That feels illegal.
Hey, and by the way, if anyone is listening to this, we're not actually giving stock advice here. We're just this is just musings, thoughts, personal opinions. That's all it is.
Legitimately, I don't know enough. Like I've said, and I will say again and over and over again, I don't know about stocks enough to make a proper decision about this.
Yeah.
It just feels really funny to me.
Yep. And personally for me, venturing into the unknown is not anywhere where I would ever delve. So, when I'm dealing with my own personal money, I don't invest. I wouldn't touch this situation from a 10-foot pole. someone mentioned what was going on to me back when GameStop was like under $100. They're like, hey, this is crazy. People are gonna push it up. I was like, yeah, that's great. It's already 5 times what it should be. Like, I'm good. I don't want a part of this because it's so unknown. It's like, sure, it could go way up, maybe, but it could also go way down. People are going to want their money back and take home some money, some profit. So I was like, I'm going to go nowhere near this.
So real talk, Professor.
Yeah.
Do you regret it now?
Nope. I mean, it's easy for me to say that because I didn't invest, and I'm not sitting there with a pile of $200,000 or whatever. Right, exactly. But knowing me, I'm risk averse. I try to stay away from unknown situations when I'm talking about my retirement. And especially in a situation where it's so artificially driven up, I would not want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So.
But imagine.
No, I know.
Back when.
Trust me, I would love.
I'm selling it.
Yeah, I would love to be Scrooge McDuck in it right now. Like, I would love to just be swimming in gold coins. Sure, I think about that. But do I regret playing it safe?
No.
And ensuring that I have money in the long term? No, not at all. No, nope. Play it safe, make money steadily and smartly. I manage my risk well, and I'm okay with that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're not caught up in this weird ass travesty that's happening in the stock market.
Yeah. No. I'm definitely not like losing money on this. Yeah. I take the good with the bad. I realize that I'm risk averse, and I play the long game, and that's how it goes.
That's not inherently bad.
No, It means that I grow money more slowly and steadily, but that also means that I lose money more slowly and steadily, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's essentially what stock market in this system is built on. It's risk. The more risk you take on, the more chance you have to make money. But with risk comes the fear and possibility of loss. So that's why, like if you are studying anything about stocks, you realize people that are younger are encouraged to take more risks because they have more time to rebuild if they lose it, and if they don't lose it and capitalize on that risk and make money, they're more set for the future. And whereas people that are closer to like my age are encouraged to take less risk. You want to start making sure that you're piling up that money and you have steady growth, because at my age you need to make sure that you have some money there for when you want to retire. Otherwise you can't retire. So I mean, I've always been a safer guy. I'm usually not one to take big risks, and that's just me. Personal philosophy.
Yeah, well, I don't think I'll ever be in a position, specifically because I attempted to say this earlier. I've never gone to college.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
Fresh out of high school,
sure.
I was homeschooled my entire schooling career.
Yeah.
And I would have gone to a community college, but as I was thinking about it, because people are like, oh, you should do X in college. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, you have to pick like a major or whatever. And I'm like, oh, what do I want to do with the rest of my life?
Right.
And I just sat there and I was like, I have no idea. That's a lot.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah.
And my parents
Without
weren't
a doubt.
in a position. My parents weren't in a position ever to help pay for college. And
Sure.
at the time, FAFSA, which is the loan stuff for college, was like, hey,
what did
we
you
need
say?
your parents.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. FAFSA.
Yep.
They were like, we need your parents' financial information because you're technically still a child. And I was
Sure.
like, oh. And I was like, hey, Mom,
Sure.
I need Dad's financial information because my dad's been the only worker for literal years. And she looked me dead in the eye and goes, you're going to have to figure something else out because I'm not giving it to you. So the reason why is because if I used my dad's financial information, I wouldn't get any help whatsoever.
Sure. Yeah.
My dad
right.
makes my dad is firmly middle class.
Sure.
He is middle class. He's actually closer to upper middle class as opposed to lower middle class.
Sure. Yeah.
And any information he would have given me would have taken away any grants that I could have gotten or anything to help.
Right. Yep.
And I would just end up in more debt than I needed to be.
Sure. Yep.
So they were like, sorry, we can't do that. And I was like, well, I can't go to college without doing this.
Yeah.
So I ended up traveling instead. And I kind of don't regret it now because I still don't know what I want to do with my life.
Yeah. No, I was the exact same way until analytics came around. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my entire life. I'd struggled with that all the way from junior high school, middle school.
Yeah.
Okay. What happens? I just said that's typical. It happens all the time.
Yeah, and honestly, between like I have had mental illness issues my whole life. I didn't actually think I would get to be this age. I thought I was going to not be here.
Sure. Wow.
And so I was just like, why work towards a future and leave a debt for other people when I, when I die?
Yeah.
And my mom's like, that's a terrible way to think about it. And I was like, but is it really? It took until I was in my 20s for my parents to accept the fact that I am manic depressive, and it took me being put into a hospital, into a mental ward, for them to realize, oh, this is all the things that she's been talking about for literal years.
Right.
Oops.
Yeah.
And they just kind of were like, oh God, so this is actually a thing. And I was like, yes.
Wow. Yeah, but sometimes it's hard for people that haven't gone through it before to fully or people that even have gone through it before. It's hard for them to understand what's really going on with someone because they're seeing it from the outside perspective. So, I kind of get that, but it's always tough, tricky situation for sure.
Yeah, it was not a fun time for anyone involved. It wasn't a fun time for me. It wasn't a fun time for my parents. It wasn't a fun time for Michael or any of my siblings. And it was just like, you have, so much going for you. Why do you feel this way? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I shrugged, and they're like, that's not an answer. And I said, that's as good as it's going to get, bud. I don't know. I don't know why I feel sad all the time. I don't know why I feel like, my life isn't worth living. I don't know.
Sure.
Like, you're making this like really light of this. And I'm like, you guys have legitimately never accepted the fact that I have been this way since I was a child. I don't know what to tell you.
Sure. Yep.
I was like, you guys have made jokes about stuff. Like I have also been an insomniac since I was 6. And people are like, oh, it's all that caffeine. And I was like, y'all know that like I was poor as a child, right? We had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because my mom couldn't afford lunch meat. Like we did not have meat in our house, but on very special occasions. Yeah,
that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough.
We didn't have soda. We had milk and water.
I mean, I didn't have soda. I had milk and water as well.
Yeah,
but that wasn't so much driven by financials as it was pop just wasn't allowed around the house.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in the Seattle area, people don't drink a whole lot of pop in general. Like coming down here to Tennessee, I'm like, oh my goodness. Everywhere I go, I'm surrounded by pop and sweet tea. A lot of sweet tea.
You bet your butt sweet tea. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Going to New Jersey and trying to order sweet tea
Probably
was
not
a
going to happen that
nightmare,
much.
And I do not ever recommend going north and drinking sweet tea after being in the south and drinking sweet tea. I'm just saying it now. Do not do that to yourself. You'll cry.
Yeah.
You'll be super sad. Unsweetened tea with sugar just dumped in it.
I can't do sweet beverages. That's never been my thing. Like sweet foo-foo alcoholic drinks. No, can't do it. Maybe okay, the one I could do. The one sweet alcoholic drink I could do. Strawberry margarita blended. Yeah. Take that ice, mash it up. I can do that. I do enjoy those. But in general, oof, don't give me the food. Don't give me that. I usually do like if I'm at a concert, if we're talking about concert Halo, I do the Jack and a light beer. Just a shot, quick little chaser, dunk, call it good. But I'll do a few of those in a night. In terms of like sweet beverages, can't do it.
Another thing is like I didn't have Kool-Aid until I was actually like a teenager.
Ugh. I had Kool-Aid maybe 2 times, 3 times before I was 18 in my entire life. Oh,
I love sweets, but I legit was so surprised that this was like a beverage that people actually drink all the time. Like I know a bunch of people who drink it like at their house and stuff, and I was like, that's so weird. That's so weird. But like, and people are like, oh, and I was like, yeah, we didn't have a lot, and I was like, they're like, well, you had all these gaming devices. I said, you do realize that I have like 5 siblings who were in the workforce when I was growing up.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
all that stuff belonged to them.
Yeah. on occasion, I'll do like a Monster or a Rockstar or a Red Bull. I do when I do that, it's never because I'm like, oh, I would enjoy drinking this. It's like, no, I need some energy. Like, like you know how many times I've bought like a 12-pack of soda pop for the house? 0.
Yeah.
I've never done that. Never.
Wow.
Never.
But yeah. So like people would blame caffeine on me not being able to sleep, and I'm like, I legitimately don't even know what the heck you're talking about.
Well,
like,
for some people,
I don't know
some people, caffeine does affect sleep. It does.
Yeah, but as a 6-year-old who has never had a soda, no.
Yeah.
No. And that has followed me through my life. I still have trouble sleeping, and it doesn't matter if I drink caffeine or if I don't.
Yeah, it's just
Sometimes
how your body is wired. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I typically sleep better in the morning as opposed to night. Like when the sun is coming up, I can fall asleep. Yeah. I don't know why. But
it's probably a lot of it is probably just the way you're built.
Yep.
Just genetically, that's what happens. People are different. People are different.
They sure are. But I don't have the issues like sleeping as bad as I did as a kid. Right. But I've always been super like all over the place emotionally, and I finally after having a mental breakdown, I went to a therapist and I started taking medication, and I have not felt this good since I was like 7.
Right. Good.
I feel clear. I don't feel like my emotions are everywhere, and it's been like, I wanted to leave you a voicemail to let you know, and I will do this over here as well, but eventually I'll get around to that voicemail.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you that, as stupid as this is going to sound, but Twitch as a whole has been a really weird, life-changing thing as far as me interacting with people.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I am eternally grateful that I found people like you.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I know that sounds really weird,
No,
but
not at all.
when I'm telling you in chat that like the vibes, your vibes are always awesome, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
You are such an approachable dude that like
Yeah, I try.
Berserk and I are like actively are like, well, eventually we're gonna meet him.
Yeah,
Isn't
of
that
course.
exciting? And we're like, oh, we're gonna drive to Nashville to meet a stranger off the internet? And he's like, our parents from like,
Sure.
because we grew up in the time the internet wasn't a thing, and then it became a thing.
Yeah.
Our parents would be flipping out if we were young. That they would be like, stranger danger, and I'm just like, but I feel like I know you.
Yeah, right.
It's the same thing with like Marley. I would go and visit Marley in a heartbeat.
Right.
I would go and visit Cloaked in a heartbeat.
Sure.
If you guys asked me to do a thing that took like, if I had the time and I could drive to you to help you with something, I would do it.
Well,
and that
you.
is just
thank you. Glad you have my back.
It's such a wild thing to be able to say that to someone who I've never seen face to face.
Oh,
like we've seen pictures. I've seen you actively streaming, and you've seen me in pictures and maybe on Berserk stream.
A couple videos. You did the you did the tour of the Ethernet setup.
Yeah, that Ethernet setup is pretty
which is
bad.
By the way, wild. If anyone out there hasn't seen that, they need to see that.
Yeah, because that box it's permanently in that room. Like it can't move out of that room, and that room is not one of the rooms that we are renting. We rent the room where his computer is in a bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the house is a common area or someone else's room.
Right.
Which leads me to, we're buying a house, and this is really weird.
Crazy. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think that we'd ever get here. And like, I get a lot of people in my family who keep asking us when we're having kids.
Okay, sure.
When we're getting married.
Sure. Yep.
And I'm like,
Don't worry. It gets easier with time.
Oh, it won't. Heylow.
I was kidding.
I was about to say, you don't understand. The thing is, so I had
said
that
the longer you go, the more people ask.
So I had said that I have 9 brothers and sisters.
Right.
8 of which are married, or 7 of which are married.
Okay.
8 were married, but my sister got a divorce.
Sure.
All of them have children, either step or actual biological children.
Man, that's a huge family. That's so huge.
I have 36 nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
I have 6 great nieces and nephews. I have a lot of family members.
Yeah, that's crazy.
My eldest sister, Dorothy, has 8 children herself. Do you want to know, out of all of my siblings, who's the only one who has never asked if I'm getting married or if I'm having children? My sister, Dorothy.
I was going to say, yeah, you're right. Your sister-in-law.
No, my sister.
Oh, your actual sister. Wow.
Yeah. People are like, why hasn't Mike put a ring on it? Why don't you have any kids?
Yep.
And I'm just like,
it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, I know. But like, and I've recently brought this up to him because his boss has been divorced, and he started dating a chick like 8 months ago, and they got engaged, and they're married now.
Yeah.
Like, people were like, oh, so when are you and Teresa getting engaged to him? And he's like, I don't know. The time's not right yet. The stars, they're not aligned.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
And I was like, I'm perfectly content with not doing any of that.
Just take your time. Do it when it feels right, if it feels right. Like,
yeah, but I got a bug up my butt the other day about it, and I talked to him about it, and he goes, Teresa, I'm buying a house with you. How much more commitment do we need right now? And I was like, you want to know what?
Yeah.
Fair enough. We're buying a house together.
It's like, look, man, we're buying a house together. What else do you want from me?
So I'm pretty content with the life choices that I've made. I'm glad that I wasn't a single mother like my two sisters were.
Right.
I'm glad that I didn't prematurely get married at 18
and
to
regret
the guy
it
who was
or
in the military.
Ask if there was something else out there that could have been better. Sure. Yeah.
I have some regrets because I know that, for instance, we'll never move out of the state. Not unless he gets a better job in a different state.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Because all of her family is here. His mother, his sister are the last two of his family members. Almost my whole family lives here.
Wow. Yeah.
Except for my sister Dorothy. Mm-hmm. And I just am like, oh, but when I was younger, I had always wanted to move away. I did not want to stay in Virginia. But you end up with a weird situation where there's so many people that I don't know that technically I do know. But that's the area.
Sure.
I've run.
What do you mean? Like just random acquaintances that you've kind of developed over years from living in kind of the general proximity that you have? Is that what you're...
Or people who knew my ex-boyfriends and girlfriends.
Oh, yeah.
People who knew...
Like,
so while I was working at the hair salon, I worked in a different... Yep. Okay. So there is a gas station in Virginia that's called Wawa. And if you're ever on the East Coast from South Carolina up to New York State, or if you go to Florida, like Orlando, go to Wawa. They have great sandwiches.
I've heard of this place before.
They have good mac and cheese. And no, we are not affiliated in any way, shape, or form. It's not a product placement.
Okay, sure. Well, okay. What kind of food? What kind of sandwiches? You gotta go into detail.
They have any cold cut sandwiches. Like you can. Sure. You can get a Philly cheesesteak, which Wawa is originally based out of Pennsylvania.
Okay. Oh, okay. So they're probably in the thick
they're Philly
of it.
Cheesesteaks,
Sure.
As long as you eat them fresh, they're so good.
Okay.
They're like eating at a Subway, but at a gas station.
Okay.
It's really weird, and their food is great.
Sure. Okay. Good. You had me worried there. Okay.
Oh yeah. No.
Subway gas station Subway sounds awful.
I know
they don't have that
really
where I'm
weird
from.
It's a weird way of saying it, but there's like 8 people who work at any given time, except at night when there's like 4 or 5 people.
Sure. Almost like a Jimmy John's, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but you can also get like alcohol and cigarettes and gas.
Nice. Okay.
So it's a one-stop shop. And when I was working at the hair salon, I would go to Wawa and I would get everybody's orders.
Yeah.
And I would pay for the orders, either with my own money or I'd take their cards and I would swipe each individual card for their individual orders. It was a good system to have because I could get in and out in like 6 minutes.
Yep.
And they make sandwiches fast, so it was really fast.
Good.
So I walk up to the cash register with 4 different orders, and the guy my boss at the time smoked, so I had to pull out my ID to hand it to him, and he was looking at it, and he goes, "Oh, are you related to Armand or Melanie?" And yeah. The guy legitimately looked at my ID and asked me if I was related to my brother or his wife. And I stood there. And so my brother Armand has a very complicated reputation. We'll go with that.
Sure.
If a man asks me if I'm related to him, I am 99% sure that I need to run and I need to leave.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Yeah,
so what'd you do in that situation?
I tensed up so badly, and I stared at this man.
Yep.
He's the general manager of the store. And I'm like, yes, I am related to him.
Yeah,
And I'm so ready to drop everything, grab my wallet, and leave.
Yeah, right.
Just not pay for anything and just leave. And he goes,
Fight or flight.
Yeah. And I'm just ready. I'm ready to go. And he goes, he was my manager at Wawa. And I went, oh, okay, this is fine. And I was like, whew, I was like, you have no idea how scared I was. And then he looked at me and he goes, wait a second. And he pulls out his cell phone and he pulls up Berserk's Facebook profile.
Okay.
And goes, are you dating him?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm like, yes, that's my boyfriend of the last like 6 years or 5 years at the time. And he went, oh my God, I know him too. We played Magic together.
Yeah. Hey.
So that type of situation happens all the time.
Sure. Yep.
Me.
Living in the same general community, and everyone branches out and meets, new people all the time. And eventually that's going to happen. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can go up to Dale City and there's people who know my family.
That's awesome.
Who still know my last name. And they're
that's
like,
cool.
Oh, excuse me, are you related to so-and-so? And I'm like, yes.
Yep. I got that from time to time in Seattle. It didn't happen that often, but it happened. I don't know. Every once in a while, I guess.
I'm not going to dox myself on here, but my last name is unique to our family. Mm-hmm. There is no one in the world who has my last name that I'm not related to. It is
that's crazy.
Last name.
That's crazy.
It is. It's a wild last name. But
I got a pretty unique last name, and I saw at my new company, I started a new job. Someone has the same last name. I'm like, huh. I was like, well, they're either Native American and related to me, or it's just complete chance. Complete chance they have the same last name.
Yeah. But my last name is, again, unique to my family.
Yep.
If you're one of me, like last name,
same last name, got to be related. Yep.
And I don't know how you're related, but you're related.
Somehow you fit into that chain. Yep. That's crazy.
And I'm like, oh God. So people who are like, oh, you're so-and-so sister. I'm like, there's two people that typically happens with, and it's my sister Kat and my brother Armand. Mm-hmm. If it's Armand and it's a man, I get very concerned and I'm ready to run. If it's a woman and they're asking if I'm related to Armand, I have nothing to be concerned about.
Okay.
Because either were romantically inclined to him, or they just think he's a great guy.
Right. Yeah.
My sister Kat is the exact opposite.
Okay.
If it's a woman, oh God, that's
some drama. Something happened there. Yeah, you got to be a little careful.
If it's a guy,
it's
usually like, hey, so is your sister single?
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead and name drop me to her again, by the way. Yeah, it's been a while. Oh, that's funny.
And I'm just like, no, she's not. She's actually engaged. Wasn't she married at some point? Yeah, she was married. She's not married to that guy anymore.
Right. Yeah.
She's engaged now. They're like, oh, well, that's a shame. Well, if she ever becomes single again, tell her I was asking about her.
Yeah.
Walks away. And I'm like, okay,
oh, I love it.
All right, that's really weird, but she's perfectly content where she's at too. So
right,
yeah,
cool.
So at one point, I would have wanted to move out to, I think it was Minnesota that I wanted to move to.
Okay, sure, like a Midwestern. Yeah. Sure, and I'm, I've never lived out there, but I'm assuming it would have a similar vibe to like a Virginia sort of state, right?
Yeah.
Not super densely populated, sense of community, family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew a handful of people who live up there. And I also, I've traveled out of the country. I've traveled to Portugal and Japan, but I've never been to Canada and I've never been to Mexico. And that's on a bucket list, is to go to, the two countries that are touching us.
Yeah, right. Literally just, right across the border. Yep. Makes sense.
And that's it. That's all I want to do, is to go up there and, visit.
Yep.
And then
you should. Canada's a lot of fun.
Well, hopefully someday I'll get to meet Marley. or panda. I'd be down for either.
Or both. Yeah.
Or both.
Yeah, those guys are
think-
awesome. They're, genuinely awesome people. That would be great.
Mhm. But that's just things that I'm like, oh, and people are like, oh, you've traveled out of the country? Have you been to Mexico? And I'm like, no.
Nope. I've never been to Mexico.
Portugal, though.
Yep.
I've been to, Portugal, which is kind of like Mexico, but not really.
Right.
It's a different language. It's different people. It's even so I have a friend who lives in Brazil. It is different from Brazil by what she has said to me.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, that's weird because, Portugal's super chill. It's like old towns with cobblestone streets that we were in. And it was nice. And it was quiet. But she's like, no. No. She goes, you're more likely to get robbed than anything else, especially if you go to certain parts of Brazil. And I was like,
Oof.
oh, cool.
Yeah. I mean, certain countries are like that. You really, especially as a tourist, you're a target. In certain countries, I don't know specifically what countries are more like that sort of crime is more prevalent, but in a lot of places, you travel out of the country, a good chance that you're going to be a target because people will know that you're a tourist and haven't lived in this environment, and that makes you weaker.
Yeah.
You makes you more vulnerable. And it's 100% right. It's something you got to be cognizant of.
Yeah. I've traveled to the two countries, and I know more or less how to behave in those particular countries.
Right.
But I would have to relearn how to behave like that because it's been so long since I've been out of the country.
Yeah.
I mean, Japan was interesting. You had a lot of people who could speak English but wouldn't, which was fine because it's the same thing with Americans going, oh, if you're in our country, you should speak our language.
Sure.
Well, the United States doesn't have an actual national language.
Right.
I don't know if you knew that.
I wasn't aware of that. No.
Yeah, English is the most prevalent language in the United States.
Well, yeah,
for obvious reasons.
Yep.
Spanish is second. Do you know what's third?
I'm going to say, well, the first one that comes to mind is because it's offered at high schools would be French, but I don't think I know that many people that actually speak French, so I'm gonna hop over French and say, I don't know, Hebrew. I don't know.
Vietnamese.
Yeah.
Not even Chinese.
What am I thinking?
Vietnamese.
Of course.
Vietnamese is the third most spoken language.
I probably would have gone with
United States.
Mandarin, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, and Cantonese.
Or Cantonese, right? Yeah.
Because those languages are the most spoken languages in the world just by sheer population.
Sure, right.
But in the United States, it's Vietnamese as the third.
I would have never guessed Vietnamese. Yeah. I would have said like Indian.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Hindi.
That's what I said. I said Hindi the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said Hindi.
No, you said Hindi.
What? No, I didn't. I didn't say Indian. I did not. I said Hindi.
Oh, okay. I heard Indian, and I was like, that's sort of a language, I guess. That's a people. There's a people in India.
Shadow. I was kidding. Yes, I said Indian the first time. I didn't know their language. Hindi.
Anyway,
I was covering up. I was covering up my mistake. I was covering up my tracks. Call me out on it.
Okay. But Vietnamese, there's a huge population of Vietnamese in Virginia, for instance. I've known many a person who's been Vietnamese.
Sure.
Which is really weird because I also know a lot of people who are Filipino.
Yeah, right. Or Chinese, Japanese. That shocks me that it's Vietnamese is the third most spoken language. Is it maybe because I don't know, maybe more people that are Chinese, Indian, Japanese, maybe because they're coming here and picking up English. Maybe it's because like Vietnamese people tend to speak their own language more. Maybe could that be happening?
That might be happening. I'm not actually 100% sure.
Yeah.
Given like I've said at the beginning, I'm white. I'm not in any way, shape, or form other ethnicity. I'm like German, Irish, Italian.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
white.
I don't know. I'm mostly white and Native American. So.
Oh, that's cool. My niece is that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was funny. You were talking about the Smithsonian. One of my uncles, well, like a great uncle, actually has a totem pole in the Smithsonian.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you look up David Boxley, you'll see he's got a whole bunch of just David Boxley Smithsonian. It'll pull up a bunch of information about him. So had a TV show for a while. He's in the Smithsonian. Yeah.
I'll have to do that because that's really interesting.
Yep. Alaskan Native.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's actually really weird because you don't really hear about the Inuits.
No, I'm not Inuit though.
Oh, are you not?
Nope.
I thought that was the tribe that was up in Alaska.
No, I'm more Blackfoot. A bunch of different types of Native American. Tsimshian, Tlingit, and Blackfoot are the tribes I'm most closest associated to. And then Cherokee and Tlingit, Tsimshian, Blackfoot, Cherokee, and dang it, I'm spacing on one. But there's another one. Anyways, there's 5 total. So yeah, no, not Inuit though. So a lot of people go, oh, you're Alaskan Native American, and they assume that means like you're an Eskimo. It's not the case. No. So a lot of Native Americans or more specifically, people that are Eskimos, they were the people that came across, they came from the land bridge between Asia up to Alaska, and that's where they made home, right, throughout Alaska and parts of Canada, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you were referencing when I said, "Oh, I'm Alaskan Native." They assume Eskimo, and it's not that. It's not that at all. As you know, there's a lot of tribes that were already living in America when the settlers arrived. There were, Cherokees among other tribes, right? And essentially the type of Native American that I am, we're associated almost like an extension of like Cherokee tribes, right? The Blackfeet, the Tlinkits, the Tsimshians. They're like Cherokees that were living further northwest. And so that's where my family's tribe and tribes come from, is that lineage. So it's not the land bridge over the top. It's like south moving up into Alaska and that surrounding area.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Maybe I just totally blew it.
No. That absolutely makes sense.
So I'm not the land bridge Native Americans. I'm the Cherokee type living up north, and that's a different set of tribes. Yeah.
Yeah. My niece is partially Powhatan.
Okay.
Which is a Native American tribe that is specifically from Virginia. It's East Virginian. And she also has a bit of Cherokee in her from her dad's side of the family. Her dad is like half Native American.
Yep.
Because of his mother.
Yep.
I believe. My niece, so I told you my younger sister is pale, like she is white.
Sure.
She is almost see-through white.
Yeah.
Her daughter is so tan that everybody is like, oh, her hair is so dark.
Yeah, it's
And
like
my
that. It's
sister's
like that with me and my family. I'm the lighter one. My sister's she's a bit more tan, a little bit darker.
Yeah. But when my niece tans in the summer, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
she's so dark. And people are like, "Are you sure that's your kid?" And my sister's like, "Yes." You think I want to be able to know who my daughter is? And they're like, you're so dark. And she's like, "You should look at her dad. And he gets so dark that he turns red."
Right. Yep.
And he's not sunburnt. That's just the tone of his skin.
Yep.
And it's so wild to me that like my niece is like that. And then her sister is as pale as her mom.
Right.
And she has blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
And her older sister has almost black hair. It's not quite black, but it's as close as you can get without being actually black.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Oh, but God, it's wild. But like I said, our family isn't in any way, shape, or form like that. In fact, my mom's actually second generation American on her dad's side of the family.
Right. Right.
His mom came over from Italy. So my mom's like, yeah, no. Sorry, you guys are really just Italian Irish. It's fine. And then my dad's side of the family, I have no idea where the heck they came from. Apparently someone was born in Missouri.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But my dad's side of the family, I'm eligible if I ever wanted to join the Daughters of the Revolution.
I have no idea what that is.
It's a group of people who can trace their ancestry back to the American Revolution.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And it's typically a woman organization. So
sure,
I could hypothetically join that organization, and that's kind of wild to me.
Cool. That's super wild.
Yeah.
So can you believe it, Shadows? We've been talking for 3 hours and 35 minutes.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
With all the disconnects, it doesn't feel that long.
Honestly, that wasn't more than 4 minutes tops. Tops, not more than 4 minutes. Have you ever talked like that with anyone before? Like yes. Other podcasts or okay, you have.
No podcast, but people, yes.
Okay, yeah, no, I meant like anything that's going to be distributed for other people to consume.
Nope.
No, wow. So and how'd it feel? Pretty good.
Yeah, it felt great. It felt like I was just straight up talking to a friend.
Yeah, that's right. well, that's because you were.
Yeah, but we didn't really. I was like, I was expecting more questions, but we went on tangents.
No, that's the whole point. The whole vibe of it is just open conversation, right? Kind of like almost like Joe Rogan, like kind of that approach. Just let the conversation flow. You know, I'm not gonna edit this. I say that I'm gonna edit just a couple of disconnects. It's not more than a couple minutes, but I'm not gonna piecemeal our conversation.
Are you gonna bleep out my swearing?
Nah, just let it go.
I tried so hard to avoid the hard F's.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Just do your thing. It doesn't matter.
I wanted to curse so bad, but I just said the S word a bunch.
No, it's not a big deal. No, I'm not too worried about it. I just want it to be as natural as possible, and yeah, I think that's how it went. I mean, I got a bunch of questions I still want to ask you, but let's save that. Let's do we'll have to do this again at some point. This was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, I could keep talking for hours. But again, like when I envisioned it, I was like, man, people are probably going to want to talk for like 45 minutes, maybe an hour. Yeah, that first conversation that I had with the other guest still hasn't been released. I'm going to release it tonight. But
okay.
That one we recorded for 3 hours, and then we talked for another 2.5 after that. After we had stopped recording, we kept talking. It was just because, like, after we were done recording, it was just like, oh, I have a question about this, and And we talked a lot about stream stuff and talked about each other's, I don't know, just a little more personal of a conversation, I guess. After that, because we were joking around a lot before that, but after we stopped recording, we just had more to talk about, so we just kept talking. So it was just a big shock to me to see how differently these first two podcasts have gone, because I was thinking like 45 minutes, an hour, and the first one was, if you count the entire length, like 5.5 hours. This one's three over 3.5, like, and I'm totally fine with it. That's the point, right? So yeah, man, that was crazy. It's fun. This has been great. I've been absolutely loving these. The one bummer, and this is why we need to have you back, Shadows, is because I do not have any voicemails for you today, and
oh no,
I know. So we're gonna have you back on, because I definitely want you to react to voicemails.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah, that was a big. When you listen to if you decide to listen to episode 1, you're gonna get a big laugh out of the voicemails. That was really. It was a great bit.
I'm ready. You're posting this to your YouTube, right?
Yep. Yeah. Anywhere where you get podcasts. My YouTube. Yep. Mm-hmm. And what I'm gonna do is have just a little bit of video to look at with the podcast, just so it's not it's not gonna just be a black screen. Well, I'm piecing together gameplay footage from other videos of mine, some stream footage as well.
I also sent you a meme that I didn't know if you actually received, but you should definitely look at it before we end this, because it fits you. It fits our earlier conversation.
I saw that you sent that over, but without any context, I wasn't going to bring it up.
Yeah, but I this is specifically for you to enjoy, because specifically from your own story, your own personal story on stream.
And I'm gonna have to crop this into the video. We're at 3:39. Okay, I'm gonna have to crop this into the video. What we have here is a great meme, and if you're listening to this, I'll try to explain it. But what happened was, on stream, I recalled I told a story, and to distill the story and maybe take away some of the comedy of it. It was man, this was about 9 or 10 years ago, somewhere around that range. I had made myself a bunch of pot brownies for a metal concert that I was going to. It was actually Avenged Sevenfold, and this was back in the day when weed wasn't legal. So I bought weed myself and made my own pot brownies, because dispensaries only existed with green cards and that sort of thing. So most people had never been to one before, and I ended up eating a whole line of brownies out of the pan in one sitting, because I kept eating them, and I kept eating one after another. I kept eating them, and it didn't have any effect on me. I didn't realize that it would take an hour, and in some cases more than an hour, for the edibles to really hit you. And so, dude, when I got hit, like when that wave, when the THC caught back up with me, it knocked me out. I was already in a thunderstorm. I was sitting at a campfire, and I turned to everyone and I said, I gotta go. I went inside the tent. I went zip, 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 sat down inside the tent, went zip, 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 and sat there for hours, literally hours. And and then afterwards, it was a party. There was thunder going off. People were screaming and shouting and drinking. It was a lot of fun. But so Shadow sent me a meme here, and it says it's a lady. She's got a like a what do you call that hat? That's like a
A turban.
A turban, but she looks like a fortune teller, right? And
yeah.
And the meme says it's a two pictures in the meme, right? The top one says, "Little tip about hash cakes. Start off with one, wait about an hour and see how you feel." Then down below it says, "Don't eat 15 in one go, because you will see the devil and he'll try to rip out your heart through your kneecaps." And that's 100% true.
I wanted to send you it when you were talking about it.
You
on
should
stream,
have,
but I could not find it.
Yeah.
I was like, I know what I'm looking for. know what I'm looking for. So before we actually started talking, I went to my phone to find it.
Yeah, that's
because
good.
I saved it as a meme on my phone.
Right, and if you're looking at this on YouTube, you've seen the picture because I've put it in there by now. But that's really good. But thank you for sharing that. Shadows, did you want to say anything else before we let you go here? Sorry we don't have any voicemails, but I'm not popular enough to get voicemails every single day. But if this starts to take off, we'll get more in there, and we'll definitely have you back.
Okay. Well, no, not really. I just really wanted to thank you for the opportunity to just sit and have a chat.
Of course. When I posted on it on Discord, you were one of the first people to say, I would love to be a part of this. If not the very first, I'd have to look at it. Doesn't matter. But you were definitely one of the first. And I was like, well, Shadows has been a major part of this community, a major support to this community for 7-8 months now, somewhere in that range. And I was like, dude, the people got to hear from Shadows. The people gotta hear, and having heard your voice and communicated with you, and I was like, she's gonna be super extroverted. It's gonna be a really fun conversation. I think a lot of people are gonna like listening to this. I was like, who better to have Shadows, huh? So I was like, I gotta reach out and make sure you're a part of this.
Even if I'm not actually all that famous either.
No, it doesn't matter.
I'm just vibing, I'm just hanging out.
Yeah.
And I view Twitch streams. But I did want to say thank you for having me on. I do really appreciate being able just to shoot the shit with you, dude.
Oh, yeah, of course. Anytime. And, whenever you and Sword are available and need a little vacation, Nashville is always here for you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, we were going to hope to wait till, COVID chilled out.
Sure, of course. Whenever you guys feel comfortable.
Yeah. Eventually, we're going to head to Chicago, too, which is also really weird.
Ooh.
I've never been to Chicago. I've been up and down the East Coast, and I've never been to, I've had a layover in Chicago, but that's
me
not
too.
The same.
I've never been to Chicago, but I've been to their airport. Yeah. But
I've been to O'Hare and I've been to LAX, which is in Los Angeles. That's the only time I've ever been in California too.
Okay. Well, yeah. You'll have to check out California too when COVID lightens up right now. Yeah. Right now, a lot of things are closed down over there. So, you definitely don't want to be there. And then traveling in general is a little bit of a risk right now. So you like flying in a plane, with circulated air and everything. Yep. What?
If it's in the United States or touching the United States, you ain't gonna catch me in a plane. I'll drive.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, flying in a plane. It's legitimately risky. A lot of people are getting it there. You're breathing circulated air for hours, so it kind of makes sense. So, anyways, thank you so much for being a part of this. We'll have Sword on for sure, of course. Like I hope he doesn't feel like we've ever forgotten about him, because we're gonna get him on this. We'll have you back when we have voice. We'll make sure to store up a bunch of voicemails. So the next time you're here, you can get the full experience. And I thank you for everything you do, Shadows. You're an amazing person. You and Sword are both amazing people. I'm very lucky to know both of you guys. And I think that's going to do it. So thanks for coming on, and I hope you have a terrific rest of your weekend, and let's do this again.
Yes, absolutely. And you too, by the way. I hope that you're enjoying your time off of work this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think that'll do it for now. And to everyone out there listening, thank you so much for braving the almost 4 hours of this podcast. I never would have thought we'd be doing it for this long. 3+ hour conversations consistently. But I love it. I love every second of it. And I both you and the other guest, you know, I want to be able to spend more time talking with you guys, because in both cases, I didn't get to do that. I didn't get the full experience. So, yeah, we'll do this again. But to those watching, thank you. And I hope you guys enjoy your day.